Station.
105.3 The Fan and the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network present
Touchdown Cowboys!
Dallas Cowboys Football 2024 in crystal clear HD stereo. Today's pregame show is brought to you by
Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Buffalo Wild Wings. Blockchain.com. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
And just like that, we're back. How about that? Back at AT&T Stadium for some Cowboys football. Welcome in to the official pregame show of America's team. Live at AT&T Stadium. We're actually inside the Brad Sham radio booth as we get you set for the preseason finale here. Cowboys and Chargers. And Broadus is back in the great state of Texas and ready to talk some football. Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl winning scout. That is Bryan Broaddus hanging out with us here in the pregame party all 3 hours as we get you set for kickoff here. And welcome back. We haven't been here since the playoffs, man.
Since that Green Bay debacle, huh?
That's right. And I was
wearing my green shirt.
Yes.
I actually wore the green for Matt Money Smith, who we're going to get to talk to with the Chargers today. So,
okay.
No, actually, to be honest with you,
I thought it was a Green Bay superstition situation.
No.
You were putting that game to bed.
If you're watching on the cam right now, I've got a green shirt on from my favorite brand of poncho out of Austin, Texas. To be honest with you, my luggage is traveling back from California right now. I think it might be at the Star. I put all my really good shirts that I like to wear.
Yeah.
I took them all to camp. And then I loaded up my bag. Bucky Buchanan, the equipment guy, Mike McCord, they're nice enough to carry my luggage back to Dallas. So it's probably at the Star right now.
Yeah,
so I had to go really deep into the closet to grab this one. And this is kind of like my master's attire. But no, it's nice to be back in Texas. It's nice to be talking about football. And it's nice to be talking about there's still some opportunity for some guys to get some jobs today.
There is plenty of guys that this is everything for them, and I look forward to kind of going player to player here, seeing who you're most interested in. As I look at you, and it's like a giant Christmas tree that I'm talking to right now, and we're inside. We're already being called out on the text 877-881-1053.
No,
is this the wussification of America? We're inside right now, or is this just common sense?
No. I just would like to go on record to thank our bosses, Gavin Spittle, Tim Collins, for having the sense not to have to deal with me, like maybe passing out at the broadcast position.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We don't need me like taking a header. Like I've already fell in the Avis parking lot on the way to training camp.
Yes,
so
you did.
You never know when something like this might happen. But no, it's actually, hey, week 2. The Saints are out here for a noon game. I'm sure it'll be 100 degrees then.
We'll be sweating.
We'll be outside sweating it up then. You can say hello to us there.
Where the beer flows like wine in the Miller Lite West Plaza.
That's it.
On a Cowboy game day. No place you'd rather be. It's great to have you in here. 877-881-1053, the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys, brought to you by Reliant and NRG Company. Now, Broadus, you were there all camp long.
I was.
You went into camp with a bunch of questions about this team. Do you feel better about some things?
I do.
More optimistic. We had him at 9 wins before training camp. We picked him to go 9-8. Do you think that could be a double-digit situation?
Play that game with me that I don't know how to play or like. The ceiling is
the ceiling.
The ceiling is 11. The floor is 8. How about that?
All right. Yeah.
Wait. Now we picked 9. But if you had to say, okay, where would you feel like, Brian, personally, they would be the worst, or the 8 and 9? But then the best, I could see this thing being 11. I could see maybe 2 more wins being added to that as the ceiling for this. So
what gave you more confidence watching this team out there?
I feel like that they figured out this. I had some questions about the left tackle. I had some questions about the center and how that was going to play out. I think they're going to be just fine at those 2 spots.
2 rookies, baby. We got Tyler Guyton and we got Cooper Beebe.
I do. I feel better about Tolbert fitting in. I think, Todd Archer, who we all love, he works with ESPN. Todd talking about, well, remember the last time they did the Zach Martin contract, and it was a face-to-face meeting. Todd's sending you somewhere here. Todd's sending you now that everybody's back in town, maybe a face-to-face with CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jones and that crew could get this thing done. So Todd's sending us in a direction right now, but we didn't know what was going on. We didn't feel like, or I didn't feel like that CeeDee was going to hold out the entire training camp. He did. He held out. Now it's time to figure out, okay, this is the number, this is the years, let's go play football. But I learned a lot about Tolbert because I didn't think that Tolbert, I was really questioning his mental toughness. Wasn't questioning his toughness as a player, but was he able to fight through things? Was he going to be able to, every day at practice when he's tired and he didn't want to run anymore, was he willing to put in the little extra to be that guy that potentially could be the third receiver? I had questions about him, about Brooks, who was going to get that spot. Feel like that's going to be Tolbert's spot. He had a really nice camp out there in California, practiced consistently, showed toughness throughout the camp. I think he's going to be your third receiver out here. I had questions about that. Had questions about this linebacker group. When you looked at the linebackers, it was a lot of bodies, and you're thinking like, man, there's some young guys out there. They look like they found something with Chiofalo. I'm looking at him, and I'm going, during the draft, during the coverage on 105.3 The Fan and DallasCowboys.com, the draft show, Chiofalo gets picked. We're all going, whoa, where's the running back? Gosh dang, they could have took Lloyd from USC. We were throwing all kinds of names.
Right from Tennessee, there was plenty of guys with juice.
No, we were throwing just names at it, and, they came in, and afterwards it was like, no, this Chiofalo, keep an eye, watch, see, evaluate, and you go out and watch him. They've got it. It's a better room. They will be better run defenders just because of their linebacker room. Sure. Nothing against Marquise Bell. And Marquise Bell, that's a whole nother thing. If you want to talk about a kid that had a really good camp playing coverage, tackling, we saw the interceptions in that Rams game. He's a gamer. And so now you're seeing him playing his true position, but they're actually using linebackers. It's a room full of guys that can, when you watch, it's read, fill, cover for each other. Read, fill, cover for each other. And that's what this team didn't have last year. They had a lot of questions with Clark, and I'm not sure. And then all of a sudden, our guy gets the Wolf Hunter Van Der Esch gets hurt. And now it's just kind of chaos at the position, and they're throwing bodies at it, and it's really not. And you're saying, well, why aren't they playing good run defense? Well, they got a 208-pound safety playing linebacker and doing the best he can. Mm-hmm. So to me, it is a group now that has some consistency to it. When you look at the players, the size, the ability, all those things to me are very, very positive. Questions you needed to have answered, and I think there were some of them that we were able to figure out when we were at camp.
And then they make some trades for the interior of the defensive line.
They're not done there, boys. They're not done, boys and girls. I'm telling you, they're not done there. I'm telling you, they're still – I think they're still hunting a couple of positions inside. I really do.
Okay.
So
a couple more big dudes in the middle.
And it's whether that's trade or waivers. We all kind of thought like, well, Phillips could play the three. They needed a backup three. When I talk about the three technique, the technique of the three plays on the outside shoulder of the guard. So when you hear me say a three, that's outside shoulder. You say a one or a nose, that's inside shoulder on the of the guard. So the one and the three, usually a heavier guy playing the one, lighter, more like Osa playing the three.
Slippery, get upfield a little bit.
They tried. They tried Golston at the three. Golston didn't work at the three. They needed a backup edge on the outside of Tank. That's where Golston's going to go. Now they got to throw bodies at this thing and see what they could do. And they basically added two guys that were the Buffalo Bills run stoppers from last year. So I don't think they're done. I think that Will McClay's done a fine job of looking at his team. They could have sat there, and we were talking about it in the crosstalk. Will McClay could have just sat there and said, "We're good with Mozzie. Yeah, we're good with Rogers. We're good with Carl Davis." They weren't good at it. And whether that's Will looking at his team, which I think he does quite well, Zimmer, Jeff Zagina, those coaches, everybody's like, we're not good enough. We're not good enough. And the opportunity to add bodies at that spot, they're going to be there. I thought even with the running and even with the linebacker room, I thought they were going to be better with the on run defense. Mm-hmm. But you add those guys, it makes it even more of a formidable front.
And then just the Zimmer scheme in general lends itself to being a better, more sound run-stuffing defense. The 817 asking what you think about Overshown. He's probably the guy you're most excited about in terms of being like a legit, game-changing dude at the position, perhaps.
Yeah. Hit pointer of Overshown. Don't know if we're going to see him today. Now, maybe Clark gets some run today. They've got a lot of bodies. They've got, with Buddy Johnson and some guys like that, Willie Harvey. They've got some guys that they can play and they don't have to expose. They got good depth at the position. But with Overshown, yeah, absolutely. Now, the key is keeping Overshown, keeping Clark, keeping those guys healthy as well. Kendricks missed some of training camp dealing with injuries, a little bit older guy, but he's not an injury-prone guy. But it's a good group with some depth there at that position.
All right, it's the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys, getting you set for the preseason finale here at AT&T Stadium. Cowboys and Chargers. Let's go behind enemy lines with Matt Money Smith, voice of the Chargers, coming up next right here on The Fan.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
.com/tickets. Terms and conditions apply. See nature'sownbread.com/tickets for more details and official rules.
From the shotgun, Herbert as the Lions try to get settled. Stone Smart in motion, shotgun snap, fakes the handoff, rolling to his right, throws, Keenan caught, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Chargers! Allen launches the ball into the stands in celebration, 38 yards. DJ, they are 3 of 3 on 4th down, and all 3 have gone for touchdowns.
About to go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Chargers, Matt Money Smith, here live at AT&T Stadium as we continue to get you set for kickoff, the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys here. And yeah, man, the Chargers were not quite the squad every Chargers fan was hoping for last year. That's for sure. Brandon Staley became the laughing stock, and now they bring in Jim Harbaugh. It's a new look squad. They still got Justin Herbert though. He'd been banged up most of training camp. Last night, I mean, what the heck happens last night where the Chargers are having 15 people trapped in an elevator at a local Dallas hotel? You would think like a little gamesmanship action, but it's preseason, man. This is just bad luck, and I hope that Matt Money Smith himself was not one of the 15 people inside that elevator as he sits down with us now here in the Brad Sham Radio booth. Matt Money Smith, happy game day. Welcome to AT&T Stadium.
Coming in hot.
How the heck are you? Yeah.
Coming in hot.
Coming in real hot, dude. You're the man, though. It's
Did
great
you get stuck in the elevator?
No, I just, you know what? I'm a nightmare. I really am. Nobody likes traveling with me. I got turned around. I start chatting with people, and then next thing I know, my guide is gone, and somehow I'm in like the Jack Daniels luxury box.
Hey, I'll tell you what. This is an easy place to get lost in.
Yes.
Okay.
So I got lost.
That's the way it goes.
My apologies.
No, it's all good.
You're all
it's
good,
all
man.
good. Broadus is wearing the green shirt.
I wore green for you today for the money.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Actually, all my training camp clothes are dirty, and so
We're at the end of camp.
we're at the
Right?
end of
It's that time.
camp. Notice you got the polo on again. Let me ask you though, the transition to Jim Harbaugh,
Yeah.
as you know, and the Chargers looking for a little bit more stability there, and Harbaugh, one of the best. How's it been so far working with him?
It's been great. He's been fantastic. It's been very different, and that's not to take anything away from Coach Staley or Coach Lynn, who were the other two coaches, you know, that I've worked this job with. it's just different. It feels there's a little bit more intensity. There's a little bit more on-edgedness, if that's a word. You can kind of feel like going into this third preseason game, guys are wondering, where they stand. And I almost felt like there was just a little bit of sort of static behavior. I don't want to call it complacency because I think guys were still aware, but it just feels very competitive. Like no matter what your status, what you were doing before, clean slate, go out there and earn it, and that's been a pretty heavy theme through training camp.
Yeah, Harbaugh seems like the old school guy, like the training camp most likely to have legit old school Oklahoma drills and like bull in the ring action. I could see Jim Harbaugh getting in the mix on that.
Yeah,
exactly. I've seen him. He's pushing sleds. Have you seen him do back squats with his khakis on yet?
So I'll tell you, the first day I saw it was in OTAs, and he is dragging the sled, and as you can see, the people can't listen, but I am of a slight build. Right. So I just assume the plates that are on the sleds are 45s, and there's like, 3-4 plates stacked up. So I'm like, how about that? Figure weight of the sled, he's probably pulling, maybe a cool 150, 200 pounds, something like that. And he's like, and I said that to him. I was like, wow, it was impressive. You're pulling those things. What was that, like 200 pounds? It's like 200 pounds. Those are 100-pound plates. I got 4 plates on there. And he got real intense and came up in his seat. And I was like, sorry, coach. All right, 400 pounds. Way to go. You're
I can
pulling
see
the sled.
you've already got the mannerisms down, though.
Oh, yeah.
Is that?
He locks eyes.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. When we interview him, it's a challenge. He'll pause when you ask him something, and he wants to see if he'll break you, if you'll break your eye. It's intense.
It's very intense.
To go back to the first question, it's definitely different, but it's fun. It really is fun.
We do a lot of work on our station in the draft, and I do the draft show and all that, and 3 days of the draft. And I love, by the way, when you used to do the combine, when you and Bucky were doing the combine from the field, I love that.
Thanks.
I would watch that feed. Nothing against, nothing against everybody else, but you guys, with you and Bucky, did a heck of a job with that. I learned a lot about the players. I could tell by the detail you were getting into. You guys surprised the hell out of us drafting Joe Alto.
Yeah.
That was one of those kind where I was like going, everybody was kind of plugging something different. Oh, receiver. Yeah. Everybody hammering that receiver. You hand in the card, Joe Alt, and I'm like, that football team gets it.
Yeah.
How has Joe Alt been for? It seems like if you follow all the metrics and stuff, the grading and stuff has been outstanding for him.
Yeah, I don't just do the play-by-play. I host a podcast, a couple of them every week, and it was intense with the fans. They were adamant. It's not going to be an O-lineman. There's no way. We need Keenan's gone. Mike Williams is gone. You've got to look at these receivers, Malik Neighbors and Roma Dunze. And I just said, it's going to be an O-lineman. It's Jim Harbaugh, and I was doing college football when he was at Stanford, so I called quite a few of his games, and I'm like, it was all O-line. His receiver his number one receiver, was a converted corner, and it's like he just didn't care. It was all O-line and run the ball, so to the second part of your question, Alt's impressive. He's just an impressive physical specimen when you stand next to him. These guys are huge in general, but I think you guys know it from Tyron Smith. When you're next to him, you're like, okay, that's different.
Right.
And that's Joe Alt. It's like, this is different. And that's why it made sense, I guess.
You're absolutely right. When you stand there, and the size of him and the length, and you're like going, okay, that's when they draw him up, that's what a tackle is supposed to look like with him. And
it's funny because opposite him is Slater, who got dinged because he doesn't look like that. And yet he's one of the best tackles in the league. So it's funny, build him however you want.
Yeah.
Don't know how it's going to turn out.
Oh, no, he's such a good foot athlete, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 2 really good foot athletes playing on the edge. You talk about not the coach and the wide receiver, but Ladd McConkey, though, is when you watch the Georgia tape, you're like, damn, does he not catch a ball? I mean, is he that way? I mean, in practice, when you're watching him, it's like, heck, they throw it behind him, they throw it on the ground, they throw it over his head, they throw it to him on the move. Is that kind of been the translation for just early in some of your early looks of him?
Yeah, I think he's probably the one that's got the furthest to go with Justin, just because there's so little chemistry and so little experience of how tight these windows are going to be. The separation isn't going to be what it was in college, and yet you go out to practice and you watch it and you're like, oh wow, if you're doing fantasy, this is the receiver you want. He is so crisp in and out of his breaks. And look at this, DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
Daniel Jeremiah.
Daniel Jeremiah makes an opinion. Yeah,
he declines the interview. So, of course, you want a DJ over me. And he says no. I say yes. And then he comes in and sabotages my answer. And now he's judging me.
They don't want want to talk about the Padres. That's why they didn't.
Yeah. The Padres are on quite a run, by the way. He's got to be happy about that.
Oh, yeah. We're 500 yards away from where the reigning World Series champs are, something the Padres have never done, by the way.
That's
Won
right.
a World Series. Yeah,
That's
you were
right.
intimidated to talk about the Padres. That's what you get. Ladd McConkey, if you're drafting fantasy,
sure.
I would say, you start getting into those later rounds, take a flyer. That's the guy.
This is beautiful. I'm crossing that off the question list here because I was going to ask you, is it Ladd McConkey or who on this offense is the guy?
Yeah, if Palmer is healthy, he's the guy. It's just I've got 3 years of history of he's just struggled to get out there for 17. So, but if he is, he's super underrated. He's your do everything. Great route runner, great contested catch receiver. But McConkey, it looks special. It looks like there's this just intuitive connection between he and Justin Herbert already.
When I think about Harbaugh and I think about your offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, because I remember him being at Stanford and then he goes to the Ravens.
Right.
Is it still the same what you remember? I mean, he's done a nice job. Everywhere he's been, the offense finds a way. It's a physical offense. Yeah. It's a tough offense as far as moving the football. You kind of get that feeling that's why Coach brought him back to be his OC?
Yeah, what I said to everyone, what I said on the pod is I said, what about Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson and Colin Kaepernick? And I said, no, Andrew Luck. Think about Andrew Luck, where I think his number one receiver that year was that he should have won the Heisman was Griff Whalen. And you had Toby Gerhart and, and Stephon Taylor. Those guys are running it. And yet you look at Andrew Luck's stats and it's like 3,600 yards, 32 touchdowns. I was like, he knows how to do it.
He knows how to move it.
If he's got the weapon, he knows how to do it. He just adapts to whatever the weapon is. So that's not, look, is it going to be that easy? I don't know, but that's kind of what my vision is. Right. I think I saw the number on Herbert this year was 21.5 for touchdowns, and I was like, that seems crazy to me. Just
hammer that over.
Yeah, that seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
So
when you on your pod and stuff and interactions with your fans and stuff, how they look at with Mentor as the defensive coordinator, are they worried about the college guy, or is it you push, hey, watch Michigan's defense and you'll kind of see how they play?
So it's funny. Defense has been a mess for this team. And Herbert's really the guy that's been catching all the strays. And I would say, hey, look, I'm not caping for the guy. I'm just saying he's giving them leads with 3 minutes left, 4 minutes left, and the defense immediately allows the go-ahead score. So I think they were ready for anything. They're like, hey, whatever. Right. But we're pushing it pretty hard. I really like him. I enjoy our conversations with him. He's a bright guy. He really thinks it through. And then talking to the players, the way they describe it is they're like, it's very similar and it's complicated. They said, but it's simple. And I think that was sort of maybe the issue with Brand. He's a brilliant guy, but he just had 9 different answers to every question. You had to know all 9 of them or else it was going to fall apart. So I think they're excited, so I guess thereby I'm excited. The one guy I would say to keep an eye on, and I don't think he'll play today because he's done so well in the preseason, is Deion Henley. He's going to let himself be known as one of the next, I think, great linebackers in this league. He's just built for this defense perfectly, so I'm excited to see him play.
Could TCU fans still have some excitement about Quentin Johnston?
I hope so. I want to see it in the games. Quentin in practice has always been impressive. He's physically impressive.
He's a good kid.
It's just for whatever reason, when the lights turn on, when the moments are their biggest, it's, I think, just self-confidence. So I'm hoping as positive as Coach Harbaugh is about his players, that he can kind of feed off some of that, and we'll see it, on Sundays.
Well, you're the man. We appreciate the time as always.
You got it, man.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Matt Money Smith, voice of the Chargers, hanging out with us here on the official pregame show of America's team. Matt, you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
There he goes. All right, we continue to get you set for kick. 2.5 hours to kick off here, the preseason finale, Cowboys and Chargers. Let's go inside the Star with our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, live from AT&T Stadium, coming up next right here on The Fan.
Miller Lite is brewed with great taste and only great taste.
The Miller Brewing Company would like to issue a correction. Miller Lite is brewed to be less filthy.
Too wild. Jack Links. Feed your wild side. Always feed your wild side responsibly. Be safe. We're saying this because we love you.
All right, let's go inside to start with our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, here on 105.3 The Fan, getting you set for the preseason finale live here at AT&T Stadium. Cowboys and Chargers, under 2.5 hours to kick off. We still got Babe Laufenberg on deck. We got Christy Scales, Brad Sham, and, of course, later on in the program, we'll get to Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones as well. Friendly reminder, today's Rangers game will be on 1080 KRLD AM starting at 5:30. So when you're looking for your Rangers later on this afternoon, 5:30 start for the Rangers, 1080 KRLD AM. And now we get to the Love of the Star podcast, basically, boys.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
You can just butt out now here, Eric.
Yeah, you guys do
kind
your
of
thing.
Our show. We've got our producer back there on the board, everything. This is a full reunion.
This is perfect. This gives me time to go beat Blake Elliott to the prime rib station in the press box so that he doesn't bogart
I've never
that
seen
thing.
anybody so happy to get an email about what food they're bringing us from Legends today.
Are you kidding me, Bob? You might want to hang around in the Brad Sham radio booth.
As soon as I walked in, I heard you like whispering breathlessly to everybody around here, like, "Hey, did you hear what we're getting? Did you hear what's coming through?"
I was wondering about the pizza burger, and so was Broadus, okay? And so is our guy Ruben here, engineering things. And yes, the pizza burger is going to be part of today's spread. We're just going to get a little bit of a little taste of it all 20-plus new menu items here at AT&T Stadium,
Holy
courtesy
geez.
of Legends Hospitality. We're going to get a little pizza burger, buffalo chicken empanadas, flatbreads, and your favorite, Bob, the vegan Tostitos Ultimate Nachos.
Can't do without it. It's good stuff. All right, now, if you rush down to the press box to get your prime rib, you know it's been in the news for everybody around the NFL this year. The facial recognition thing. Are you concerned with your haircut that they're not going to recognize you and not let you into the press box?
Oh, no, I will re-ingratiate myself to the people there.
Very quickly.
Be behind the prime rib very, very quickly. Yes, I have something special for them as well, just a token of gratitude for the way they overserved me.
Are there still roster spots available?
Yeah, I think when we get through training camp, the idea of the bubble player isn't a myth, but it's oversold how many exist.
I think the new myth in football is that when you cut a guy, he's going to be gone. It seems like everybody loves all their 53 players, and they don't want to make moves.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Now, obviously, a couple years ago, the Cowboys snatched up Will Greer that way.
Right.
And occasionally you'll have somebody who
makes a mistake.
Yeah, or maybe
you got to punish somebody for that.
Yeah, maybe they cut somebody who is somebody who they thought nobody else was aware of, but maybe there's this one team out there that also had a really high grade on a player,
right,
or thought that they were kind of sneaky on him. Or if you've got somebody that you cut that you were having to fight with in undrafted free agency, like you were having to negotiate with.
Right.
If the other team gets an opportunity, then they'll snatch them up. But yeah, I don't think it's not the same concern that people like to make.
We used
it out
to
to
panic. Remember that, Bobby? We'd always panic, like, man, we can't cut this guy. He's going to get claimed. And I just find it every time, and I turn around, cut down day on Tuesday. Wednesday, all my practice squad players back.
I'm with you, except for Isaiah Land last year. That was a disappointing one.
But
and
they'll
right
kind of
now,
tell you like, they're cool.
They're cool. For
They're
sure.
cool with
They don't
that.
care.
They don't. It's okay.
No, we're gonna act like we can't use a pass rusher right now.
No, as you're looking for edges, you're absolutely right.
Well, and you look at it and you go, okay. The other aspect of it is when somebody gets snatched up, you're going, dang, they took guy number 54 for us. Like if they liked him enough, they would have figured out a way to make sure he was on the roster. But in terms of actual roster spots, I don't know. We've probably got legitimately 2 spots, 3 spots heading into
what
this game.
position? I'm not asking you the players' names. Give me the positions then, if you feel like. Because I kind of feel like that maybe at wide receiver, maybe at linebacker.
Yeah, do they want to regardless of how many linebackers they keep, I don't think they know who that last one is.
I don't think so. I don't know if they know who the last receiver is. Does that make sense if it's Flournoy, though?
Do they not know who the last receiver is, or do they? I think what their question is, do we want to keep 6 or not?
That's the question. 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think they know who their 5 are. If they're going to keep 5, they're like, nope, we know who our 5 are.
Yeah,
and that's
Flournoy is the 5th, right?
No, Flournoy would be 6.
That'd be Brooks. Brooks would be your 5th.
Yeah, it's Brooks, Turpin, Tolbert, Lamb, Cooks, and then if you want to keep a 6th, then it opens up to probably. I mean, we've talked about Racey McMath and Tyron Billy Johnson, guys like that. I think it's probably more likely maybe you're looking at Cropper or Flournoy, with Flournoy having the edge there. How many running backs do you want to keep? How many linebackers do you want to keep? Who is your last corner? Does Keeman Hall make enough of a push that you say he's got to be our 5th corner, or do you say
I think
we
McQuam
need
was
to carry
on this
6?
team. I didn't think when I was leaving Oxnard, I was kind of like debating that one. I don't think I'm debating that one anymore.
Well, and maybe McQuamu's more like McQuamu's somebody who has shown he's got the flexibility to play a lot of different versatile spots that they have in the secondary, and so he could kind of be just a roving. You're a DB piece that we have back here if they want to keep him that way.
Who's the swing tackle on this team? Offensive tackle
right now. I mean, I think by midway point of the season, you're talking about Udoga when he's
okay,
healthy.
it's Udoga, but give me 4-week swing tackle.
So the problem is that you don't have any legitimate tackle depth right now with all the injuries, including Tyler Guyton.
Awesome,
with the
Richards
sore knee.
would like a word with you.
No, I get it, but Richards is a guy who they played a lot at guard, so I'm just saying it's like a pure tackle.
Yeah,
like
he played
Guyton,
in the practice the other day. He looked okay.
Like Guyton's a tackle.
They'll
Steele's
tell
a
you they think he can. They think he's a better tackle.
Yeah, that he can play there absolutely. But in terms of just Guyton and Steele are pure tackles. There's no flexibility. They're playing tackle or nothing.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think that Richards probably would be it. But I think the extra tackle they're keeping right now, the guy who's going to be designated on the roster, listed as a tackle on the roster, is, if you ask me right now, it'd be Josh Ball.
Yeah.
And I think that Richards would be the first guy to get called in if they had an injury.
Yeah.
But the guy who, I think the third tackle, quote unquote, they keep will be Josh Ball.
It's amazing.
To be fair, I would imagine for like 31 other teams, you're kind of in a Josh Ball swing tackle situation.
Oh, I remember I had asked.
Awesome Richards looks legitimate out there, though.
See, and that's the one that gives you some hope and encouragement.
But
he played like 27 of his 40 snaps last year. He was your left tackle.
I felt like Richards was better at guard. I guess I don't see it the same way. I felt like he's been better at guard when I watched him.
See, this is the thing. When you start to ask me, like, okay, who's the most improved player you saw at training camp? Awesome Richards should be a guy that you talk about. You should absolutely be talking about him.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think he's one of the guys that impressed me the most in terms of, he's tapping into something I didn't feel super comfortable with. But to your point about the depth issue and how other people have this depth issue, somebody around the league had told me last year, they said, offensive line is the position across the NFL where we have more spots than we have players who we feel are talented enough to be in the NFL.
Right.
Like that it's just a starved position.
Mm-hmm.
Third running back.
For you, Bobby, for you. Who would it be for you?
Somebody not here. Somebody not on the roster. Or
fair.
Zeke or Dowdle after you get somebody who's not on the roster is what it would be for me. Guys who are on the roster right now, if you tell me they're rolling into game one with this running back group or guys who are currently here.
It wouldn't surprise you, would it?
Freeman. For me, it would be Freeman.
Yeah.
I thought Freeman was impressive. To me, it would be Dowdle, Zeke, Freeman. That's the group that I go with. But they do.
Does Freeman do special team stuff?
That I haven't noticed as much of that. Malik Davis absolutely does.
Yeah,
that's why he's making the team.
That's Bones Fossil.
Davis gets a benefit there. But I always go back to, and I know we've referenced it on Love the Star. We've referenced it on 105 Through the Fan. We, maybe y'all have referenced it here. Is that I go back to the DallasCowboys.com Day 3 interview we had with Mitch LaPointe, their director of college scouting.
Juice.
When we said, what are you looking for in a running back? And he said, juice. He said, we don't have it right now. And they still don't. And so to me, I think when they're scanning, they're looking for certain skill sets. They're looking for certain guys. But I think they're also looking at it and saying, I need somebody who can, take the ball, hit the ground, and go. Like, I need 40 yards in a flash.
Jalen Tolbert is going to be the second receiver on this team this year. Over Cooks.
No, I don't think so. Now it's
like week 3, week 4, week 5.
So are you telling me like he's the second in the progression consistently, or he's going to have the second most targets on the team?
No, that's going to be Ferguson. Ferguson's going to be the second.
Ferguson will have the second most targets.
Ferguson's going to get the second most targets.
Do you think the Cowboys have gotten to a point where they view Brandon Cooks as a niche player?
I don't think so.
Do you think they look at him and say, you're our vertical guy, but if we're not going vertical concept, you're not going to be a priority in the progression?
I mean, training camp without CD Lamb provided him doing a lot more.
If they haven't gotten to that point, then Cooks is the 2.
He is.
To me.
The one guy that's going to be the vertical player for them, I think, is Brooks.
Brooks is to me, I've said this since mini camp. You and I had talked about it sitting out there watching practice. I think you can make an argument Brooks is the best bad ball contested catcher on the team. He is physical. He fights. He's got strong hands. He can adjust to the ball. I think Brooks is a guy who, if you're telling me some of this, obviously Lamb is your guy in the red zone. But But if you're telling me, like, other receivers on this team, who am I most comfortable with throwing a, 1 yard line back shoulder fade to, it might be Brooks, because he's so tough at the catch point and is unbothered by the physicality of corners.
Well, that's been one of the biggest positive takeaways from training camp in the preseason, is just you have a little bit more
Brooks and Tolbert.
Yeah, like the depth of pass catchers is much better than you thought. You came in here thinking you only had Lamb and Ferguson and Cooks, and then Turpin can give you some fun stuff as well. Tolbert, I think, is legit.
Turpin,
now.
to me, is what you're talking about, the gadget dude.
I like Turpin a lot.
He's a gadget guy.
But down in the red zone, he knows how to get open
Sure.
down there. It's the
open
wildest
fast.
thing. Yeah, he has a feeling. Him and Cooks have feeling for how to get open when there's all kinds of traffic down there.
I like this from the 817, and I think this could be a big part of the plans. And you heard Stephen Jones saying this in, I believe, a Jory Epstein article from training camp. But
Epstein, but yes.
It's Epstein?
Yes.
Okay, my apologies to Jory. It's CeeDee Lamb gets the contract, the targets, the touches. He's part of your juice at running back. Turpin's part of your juice at running back. I think Deuce Vaughn is a guy that should be making this team based on the running back skills he has compared to some of the other guys, but the special team stuff is going to hurt him there. But like 817 saying Turpin brings juice as a back, I think Turpin and Lamb could supplement as that.
I don't think you can line up Turpin single back or I formation, though, as a running back.
Toss it to him?
You can have him in the shotgun. You can toss it. You can't line him up back there.
You're not going
and
to say off tackle?
I can't understand her and, hand it off. That's what I think when we hear Mitch LaPointe talking about juice and wanting juice throwing it back. I think he's talking about, I want a guy who, we snap the ball, I turn back, and 3rd and 1. It happened with Pollard against New Orleans. The game McCarthy missed coaching that year, where Dan Quinn had to coach because of COVID, where it's a 3rd and something play, and they're under center, and they just do a toss, and he goes off tackle, and he's gone, and it's 70 yards. They missed that. I think they missed that Tony Pollard game speed, and that's what they want. Turpin, I think, absolutely can take some carries. And look, Mike McCarthy has a history of saying, all right, let's try and get creative here. Ty Montgomery, I know you've been a receiver. You're going to play running back for us because we don't have any running backs. And so it's not something that McCarthy's been opposed to in the past.
I mean, Lamb took some carries as a back last year. It was just very small, but maybe you could expand that.
It was something that he does something. I also wonder if when they get him paid and he arrives here, do they start going, you're not making $35 million to run between the tackles. We're not doing this.
Yeah. I wanted to say, by the way, our buddy Todd Archer posted, I think, a very kind of a cryptic tweet about Zach.
He's a very cryptic man.
Yeah, but Zach Martin, the last time they got Zach Martin, and they did that contract, it was face-to-face. He was throwing out there the CeeDee Lamb possibility that maybe CeeDee and the Jerry and them meeting today.
That'd be great.
You got to be buying that, right? Archer doesn't throw stuff out there just to throw it out there, does he?
No. There are some people that when I hear
this is going to get done this week, isn't it?
I would hope so.
Come on, Bobby. Have a pair.
No, I would hope it would get done. Here's the thing is that we would have been saying the same thing right after the last preseason game with Zeke. This is going to get done this week, right? It didn't get done until 3 days before the first game. And so, how dug in are they? We thought.
Well, there's that word again, dug in. I try not to use it with you this week.
I know. I get triggered from it. No, is that how
Bobby Duggins?
How dug in is CeeDee Lamb?
I don't think he's missing game checks personally.
I don't think he is either. But is he willing to say, "I'll get up to game week"? He might. He might say, I don't need to blink. You guys need to blink. And I think there is absolutely a standoff. It's a game of chicken right now. It's a.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised the front office is holding up as well as they are right now?
No, they've done this before.
We gave them the bad nickname, the Cavemen.
I wish they would have gotten done last year. Last year was the time to get it done during. I felt like during the spring, you could have massaged the cap numbers easier. I feel like just because of the length of the contract that he had left.
When did you become a cap expert?
Just you're talking to that. That's math, right? He's got year 3 or 4 and the 5th year option, and then whatever you can tack onto that. It was something that was going to be easier to maneuver. It's going to cost you less at the time because guys continue to get paid. Jefferson hadn't been paid yet. Now, did CD want to slow play that and say, I want to see what Jefferson gets? Perhaps, but he doesn't miss a game.
If I was anybody that's getting re-signed here, I'd just play it all the way out to the end.
Sure.
Just play it all the way to the end. and see what happens.
Andrew Brandt, the former Packers executive, had a tweet this week where he goes, teams have reputations, negotiating reputations across the league. The Cowboys' negotiating reputation is they dig in until the very end, and then they pay the top of the market at the very end.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how they've done things.
Nobody in the front office really likes you anyway, so you can say all the bad things you want.
That's not a bad thing. That's
they don't hate you as much as they hate me.
Look, I mean, there are plenty of people that hate me around here, Brian. Some of them maybe in this room.
Yeah, what are you going to say next? That if you get hurt in that contract year, it's actually going to be better for you? I mean, geez, Bobby. It's Bobby Bell, Inside the Star here, live from AT&T Stadium. The creators of Buffalo Casino Games bring you NFL casino games. All right, kick off with America's Team, on and off the reels, with Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. Okay, the Trey Lance stuff. I'm curious here. What are we looking to see tonight? And is Dak going to help him when Dak hopefully takes over play?
I'm going to take my headphones off now while we speak.
Look, I mean, I think that what you need to see is a little bit better than the last time. Jason Garrett used to tell the story about Dak where the first year he had him under center because he played under shotgun exclusively, and they had him go back and they were just practicing handoffs, and Garrett was disgusted by what Dak had done, and he went, no. He went, this is what we're doing here, and he goes, the next one was a little better.
Sure.
The next one was a little better.
Sense.
And he goes, and it gave you a sign of like, oh, this is who this guy is. It's going to get better every time, and he's going to commit to it. Show me a little bit better. That's all I need to see today. A little bit better than last time. Show me that you're somebody who can build on good performances or build on your performance and become better each time you go out there. That's the biggest thing for me today. I don't need him to light it up. I don't need him to throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns to be like, well, Trey Lance is anything. Just show me that you can consistently stack good games and good practices on top of each other.
Now, who's guys like? I want to see Trey Lance for 4 quarters. I want to see Deuce Vaughn for 4 quarters.
Okay.
I want to see Mozzie Smith for 4 quarters.
Okay.
Can I get some of that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to seeing Mozzie Smith for the entire game. It's something where I think there are times he's doing one of these a lot. He needs somebody,
for sure. Yeah, not every snap.
No, but I mean, absolutely, he's somebody who the conditioning he gets winded pretty easy. So I mean, I'd like to see it. Do the Cowboys want to stagger that a little bit? Which guys do they want to see another look at versus, like, do we need to risk you getting hurt? I would like to see, if he's healthy enough, I'd like to see Guyton out there for a lot of the day.
Yeah.
If they're genuinely not concerned about the knee soreness and it's just it's an aches and pains kind of thing, I want to see him out there for an extended period of time. I would like it if today you roll out there and you just say, all right, we're running out there in nickel all day, and it's Keeman Hall and Eric Scott and Andrew Booth, and that's your –
that's probably what you're going to see.
I would 4 quarters of that and just say, all right, let's go back, watch the tape, and see who separated themselves.
The whole thing with Mozzie,
yep,
and this is probably unfair to you. Have they buried him on the depth chart now with these additions?
I think that it's really hard to look at the moves they've made and
maybe the possibility of adding more.
I think it's hard to look at that and not come to the conclusion that at the very least they don't think he's where he needs to be.
Right.
Now, I think he played better in that first preseason game. You hear about some of the practices are getting better, throughout Oxnard.
He did. I mean, there were practices where you're like, all right, damn, that's something we could build on right there.
But even if that's something where it's been a positive, they don't. I don't think they go out and do a lot of these things unless they feel like they need to, and that he's not where he needs to be. So, look, that's on Mozzie, and that's on him to not let it get to him. Tristan Hill and Taco Charlton's careers were ruined here because they heard the noise. Yeah, and you're going to hear the noise, but you've got to be able to put it in the right context and know how to battle that. Taco Charlton and Tristan Hill did not know how to battle the noise that they heard about what they were doing. Mozzie Smith needs to show that he can do it. Otherwise, just like those two, he might be on the way out the door after year 2, just like they were.
I think we're at the point now where we have more questions about the offense than even the defense in terms of like how good they can be. I think the run, the rushing attack offensively is the biggest single question, and then just how much of a question is it to you of, okay, they pivot the offense in like week 5, week 6 last year. They go on a great run. Offense looks great. And then by the end of the season, it seemed like teams had figured them out. And now I'm like, have they done things in the offseason to add to their offense to now have counter punches? Because, I mean, Green Bay had all the answers. As you went at Buffalo, had all the answers. With an injury-riddled defense, Buffalo's like, I know every button you want to press here, and I'm ready for all of it.
Yeah, I think that, man, tell me a lot of this, I think a lot of what changed in week 5 or 6 was the game slowing down and Dak Prescott feeling comfortable with being in command at the line of scrimmage and a lot of the things that he was doing. This is about the age where quarterbacks start to peak. Like, it's this perfect blend. A lot of times you'll see receivers at 30 go downhill. Running backs at 27 go downhill. Quarterbacks tend to play their best ball into their early to mid-30s is what we've seen, because the arm strength doesn't leave you as fast as like your legs do at other positions and other things like that. So you've still got the physical tools to be a really good quarterback. Your IQ, your time spent seeing a lot of football is really peaking, and they kind of come together before they start passing each other, where the IQ continues to go up and the physical abilities go down. So how much has that peaked here and combining for Dak Prescott? I think the offense being better is going to be less about what changes Mike McCarthy makes and schematic tweaks he makes to respond to it versus what changes is Dak Prescott making and what changes does he see at the line of scrimmage that he's better at than last year. If he's not better than he was last year, then no, it does. I don't care what tweaks Mike McCarthy makes.
This is my hope. Better offensive line play with the 2 rookies. And, I shouldn't say that with the tackle because Tyron Smith was good at tackle.
He was.
But maybe you get the offensive line play what you need. Once again, more growth of Ferguson there, I think. And now add Tolbert to the mix of catching the football.
I think we're talking about Tyler Smith by the end of this year being arguably the best guard in football.
Yeah.
I think Zach Martin is still really good, even though he's not the peak. Terrence Steele is going to be back to hopefully
he looks healthy.
He looks healthy. That's the biggest thing. If you get 2022 Steele, you get Zach Martin at just his age, Tyler Smith ascending, and then you get just positive play from Beebe and Guyton, the offensive line will be really good.
Yep.
This whole season, to me, the X factor is the offensive line better than it was last year or not?
Yeah.
If it's not, they're going to be a worse football team. If it
That's
is,
fair.
they've got a shot this year.
That's fair.
We're going to see the 70-yard field goal from Butter Aubrey tonight? Today?
Go for it.
Go for it. I think McCarthy's ready.
Yes.
I mean, here's the only thing. When McCarthy
Other
says
side of the star. Let's go.
When McCarthy says Bones Fossil had to tell him, let's not get crazy here. Let's not, lose our heads. That tells you something. When Bones Fossil's intervening to say, don't do something, that's crazy.
Right.
Because Bones loves throwing everything against the wall. So I don't know, just because Bones was blocking it once before, but they may have gotten a little juicy in that 66-yarder. And Next Gen Stats being like, you know what? We had 2 yards to spare if we kicked that 70-yarder. We should go for it.
All right, there it is. Inside the Star here, live on the official pregame show of America's Team, getting you set for the preseason finale, Cowboys and Chargers. We're live here at AT&T Stadium. 2 hours to kickoff. We welcome in Babe Laufenberg next right here on The Fan.
Tom Thumb's new Drive Up and Go service makes grocery shopping easy and convenient for...
The boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Great to have you in another Cowboys game day here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. I'm Eric Chiofalo of the G-Bag Nation. He is Bryan Broaddus, also of the G-Bag Nation, but he's a Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl winning scout, and he is our football genius over the course of every single Cowboys game day. The preseason finale, the Chargers are in town. Thank God, man. This is the last rehearsal, and then we can get to the big boy stuff. I'm fired up. Ready for some real football. Who's at the top of your list right now, Broadus, of guy that you're most excited to see? Actually, I'm not going to ask you that question because now we have Babe Laufenberg with us, and now he's the headliner. Babe, happy game day, my friend. Welcome back to AT&T Stadium. Do I see you with some new frames on? Do you have some new stylish frames on your face right now?
My glasses?
Your glasses.
Yeah. And I finally gave up. You know, I just had readers, and then eventually I just said, okay, I need glasses. I mean, real bona fide glasses. and they're a game changer. But you know what's funny, Eric? I never realized how good looking you were until I put these on. Now I could see so much better.
Well, I was fortunate enough to get some LASIK surgery this offseason, so now I lose my frames on game day, and you get yours. They look fantastic, and
funny.
Now we're here at the preseason finale, Babe. What are your overarching thoughts of camp and preseason and everything that you kind of wanted to see before we get the real stuff going?
Well, I thought two things that I wanted to see. One was obviously Trey Lance, and I would say that report card would be a little underwhelming, not awful, but not as good, I think, as I was hoping for, or I think as good as they were hoping for. The other one was Tyler Guyton. You know, we knew he was going to be the starting left tackle basically the moment they drafted him, and he has been good. I mean, he has looked really good. Now, he's going to get a test in the opener, obviously, when he's got Myles Garrett at Cleveland on September 8th, but I think he has been everything they kind of were hoping he would be. Still has a long way to go. I mean, the NFL game is different, obviously, but boy, he really looks like a really promising athlete, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does, Babe. And I was going to ask you the question about, you mentioned Guyton, but the possibility of BB starting as well. And do you think we're in a different era with these offensive linemen? Back when you played, I played, if you had rookie linemen starting, that was a problem. That just seemed like a big problem. Are we further along with the way that these kids play in a ton of college games, sixth-year guys, stuff like that? Are they more ready to play? I mean, can you put two rookies in there and be okay with this?
I would say yes. One of the big things for me is, hey, many years ago, they didn't do a lot of pass blocking because college offenses were running. Obviously, you want to go way back, you're running the wishbone, right? And so those guys, those offensive linemen coming out, they didn't even know what pass protection was because they were running the football. So I think now they're more skilled coming out. I think this particular, last 2 years with COVID, and you're getting sixth-year guys and fifth-year guys, and, they're 24 years old. And to me, there's a huge development for your body between a 21-year-old and a 23-year-old. We'll take Tyron Smith off the table because he came in at 20, and I said, that is not a 20-year-old man. That's a man.
Yeah.
But now, again, they're a little older. These programs, the weight rooms, you've been there, Brian, the weight rooms are better than what they'll get in the NFL. And that wasn't always the case. So, yes, short answer, I think they are more prepared to start earlier in their careers.
It's Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan. Now, as it pertains to one of the biggest questions that we had about this team after last season, the run defense. You bring in Mike Zimmer. They got real adult linebackers, Eric Kendricks and company there. They've made some trades on the interior of the defensive line. I mean, how much ground have they made up there as it pertains to the run defense?
They have certainly made up some ground there. I think Mozzie Smith has played, 100% better than what we saw from him last year, at least through camp. But what was interesting to me is the focus was on stopping the run. Well, Dan Quinn was a defensive line coach, right? And their secondary played great. Mike Zimmer grew up as a secondary coach, and now it's his job to come in here and figure out a way to stop the run. But I will say this, I'm not as concerned about stopping the run as most people are. They were average last year, obviously playing safeties at linebackers and all that. But again, I've always contend, if I can take one thing away from you, it wants to be the pass game, because that's where the big plays come, and the points come off big plays. It's a little demoralizing, yes, when a team can just run the ball down your throat, but look at San Francisco. To me, you got to figure out a way to get by San Francisco, right? I understand Green Bay beat them, and Detroit's going to be good this year, but San Francisco has been the gold standard in the NFC over the last 4 or 5 years, right? They're the team going to Super Bowls. How do we beat them? Christian McCaffrey, in the 2 games that he has played against the Cowboys in the last 2 years, he's averaged 3.5 yards a carry. He hasn't had a run longer than 8 yards in either of those games. He's had 29 carries against the Cowboys, and he's not had a run longer than 8 yards. So he's not beating you. You know who's beating you? Brandon Ayuk, if they get him signed. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. That's where they're beating you. They're not beating you with Christian McCaffrey.
Babe, when you look at this wide receiver group, and I'm going to probably put you on the spot here. I'm not going to ask you the name you would have, but would you carry, with this group, are you more likely to carry 5 receivers or carry 6 receivers? From what you've seen from your time being there in Oxnard and the preseason games and stuff that you've watched.
Well, I think a big part of it, as always, when you get down to that 5 or 6 receiver, is special teams. Can the guy play special teams? And Kevontae Turpin takes up one of those spots, obviously, at receiver. He'll play a little receiver, but he's your return man. He's not going to go cover kicks. So you got to find that guy. To me, Ryan Flournoy, man, the game he had against the Raiders, I just thought he blocked his rear end off. I mean, he wanted to get into the action. He was physical. And I understand your number one job is, as a receiver, is not to be a blocker. But he really impressed me with that, and that is going to translate into getting yourself on special teams. So to me, he jumped up a little bit. The other part, nobody knows his name, I'm sure, but David Durden, he got hurt, but he was a guy I really had my eye on early on, second-year guy out of West Florida, and he got hurt early, just like he got hurt last year in camp. And I thought that was a shame that he didn't get an opportunity to kind of compete. But these young guys, as you well know, you get hurt and it sets you back so far that you kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Is that kind of what you're maybe thinking about with Deuce Vaughn then? Because when we were at camp, Deuce Vaughn, very early in the camp, it's like we have the Welcome to Oxnard event, and the next thing you know, Deuce Vaughn is standing over by you and I on the sidelines for a good bit of the time. Has things in that regard for the running back room, is time gone by, too quickly for him, and the time he missed, is that going to hamper his ability to maybe make this team?
Well, it certainly hampers your ability when you're a young player like that. Now he had a nice game against the Raiders, 5 carries, averaged 6.3 a carry in that game. Showed a little something. With Deuce Vaughn, I think you know what you're getting.
Sure.
Right. I mean, you know what you're getting, and there's a big limitation, obviously, when you're 5'6". So, what happens with him, I'm not sure. They tried to get him in a little receiver, and to your point, then you miss. Here you are, kind of learn a little new position for you, playing the slot and doing some things out of that with you, and then you get hurt, so you never get an opportunity to really see that. But I do believe, I cannot give you a name on this one, mainly because I don't have no idea who that name is. But I do believe there'll be a running back coming in that's going to be making the 53 before they head to Cleveland. Don't know who that is, but I just do not see them standing pat with what they have at that running back position.
Is that giving you the thought, Babe, of because what you've seen him do already defensively with the like, you're right. They could have Will McClay, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. They could have sat there and just said, no, we're going to play Mozzie. We're going to play Carl Davis. We're going to play. They went out and got bodies. They evaluated where they were. So are you going on a theory of they're already being super aggressive before, and that they need to? This is the last position that they need to address.
I think so. I don't know who feels good about going in with this stable of running backs, if you will. You got 2 guys that are unproven. You've got. I know they're excited about Royce Freeman. He's a career 3.8 carry guy. Zeke Elliott hasn't been over 3.8 in the last 2 years. He's obviously on the downside of his career. Can he do something for your team, and can he be beneficial to your team? Absolutely. But I don't know. You look at that running back position, and it's in the bottom 10 of the league right now. And last year, Mike McCarthy told us, we're going to run the damn football. Well, I don't know who you're going to run it with.
It's a great question, man. Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan, getting you set for the preseason finale. Cowboys, Chargers here at AT&T Stadium. They got Jim Harbaugh now, Babe. How much respect do you have for old Jim?
Oh, gosh. I don't want to work for the guy, but I love the guy. He is so funny. I think he gets such joy out of it. He's been a winner everywhere he has gone. That started at USD, which is a school in San Diego, University of San Diego, that doesn't even have scholarship players, okay? He won big there. He won at Stanford. He won at San Francisco. He won at Michigan. He's going to win here with the Chargers as well. And what I really like about Harbaugh, he came out and said, we're going to run the football, right? We're going to be a powerful. Every team says that. Every team says we're going to be aggressive on defense and we're going to run the football. We're going to be a physical team. At number 5 in the draft this year, he drafts Joe Alt. all those receivers, right? Matter of fact, Malik Neighbors gets taken at number 6 by the Giants right behind him. But he says, we're going to run the football, and then you draft a tackle, an offensive tackle at number 5. Then in the first preseason game this year against Seattle, they lined up an offensive lineman in the backfield and ran the ball. And to me, that is sending a message to your team. We're not paying lip service to the fact that we're going to try to run the ball. I mean, he did it. Now, you got Justin Herbert at quarterback, so let's not run it too much.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know what Harbaugh is going to do. They're going to play defense, run the ball, and he certainly knows how to get a football team at any level ready to play.
Babe, I appreciate you coming up at our broadcast position and telling me that you enjoyed my thought about that everybody loves their 53 players and nobody gets claimed anymore. I appreciate it because for so many years it was we would sit in meetings and go, we can't put that guy out there. He's going to get claimed. You know, we would argue and argue and argue, and then the next day all our guys would be back. You know, is that? Am I right though about the? I mean, the leagues is saying, we like our 53 guys. We're not willing to add or subtract to that.
Yeah, and when you get to the bottom, I hate to say the bottom of the roster, but when you get to that 5th receiver like we're talking about, I guarantee you, Jim Harbaugh has 3 guys that he likes that are competing for that 5th receiver job with the Chargers. I think the only exception, John Ridgeway, right, got claimed by Washington, and they wanted to keep him. But, you got to go back a long way, in my mind, where the Cowboys released a guy thinking we'd bring him back to the 53, and he got picked up by another team.
Matt Moore?
Matt Moore. I remember Matt Moore, boy. That was disastrous what they did. And I'll never forget having a conversation, Brian, with a high-ranking Cowboys official. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing on the sideline. It's a preseason game. They're getting ready to play the last one. And he's talking about the other quarterback. I don't even want to mention his name because this is not to take a shot at him. But he was 6'4", he was 220, and he said, boy, look, I said, Matt Moore is your guy. I said, seriously? Matt Moore is the guy? And he said, well, no. He said, you got small hands. Look at the hands on the other guy. And I said, I don't care about the hands. I said, look at the way the ball comes out. Matt Moore is your guy. Long and short, the other guy, they release Matt Moore thinking we'll bring him to the practice squad. He gets claimed, as you know. Ends up having a 12-year career, and the other guy, I don't know if he made a practice squad.
Sure.
Well, Babe, this is the preseason finale, so this means this could be the final time a lot of these guys end up playing any bit of real football here. So don't get too sentimental on us tonight, all right?
Well, let me tell you, these guys have been playing football, as you know, all their lives, right? Mm-hmm. 8 years old, 10 years old, whatever it was, and for some of them, it could be the last time you ever put a football uniform on. The other part of this is, I always say, when we get to the 4th quarter of this game, there's going to be a lot of guys playing that people, fans, whatnot, they don't know their name. They're not familiar with the guy. But that guy is a really good football player. That was the guy when you went to your son's high school game or your brother's high school game and you saw this stud and said, man, that guy is as good a player as I've seen. That's the guy that's going to be playing tonight in the 4th quarter. So because you don't make this football team doesn't mean you're not a good player. And hey, again, they're going to be guys, half 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Do we keep this guy or that guy? And you just got to hope the fates are with you. The football gods are with you.
Amen to that. Babe Laufenberg, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate the time as always, Babe. Enjoy the game.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. There he goes, Babe Laufenberg, as we broadcast live here in the Brad Sham Radio booth, getting you set for the preseason finale here at AT&T Stadium. We are now under 2 hours to kick off Cowboys and Chargers. We'll get to Christy Scales giving us the scoop coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. But let's go around the NFL. There's some games going on right now. We got college football going on right now, and I got some Cowboy questions for Broadus. That's next right here on The Fan.
Is your workplace on top of its game? For over 100 years, Pollock Aurora has been taking care of business
And conditions apply. See nature'sOwnBread.com/tickets for more details and official rules.
All right, let's pick the Super Bowl winning brain of Bryan Broaddus here as we get you set for the preseason finale. Just over 90 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. We're live in the Brad Sham radio booth. We'll get you to Christy Scales giving us the scoop coming up here as quickly as possible. But around the NFL and looking at these Cowboys here, I know Bobby Broaddus came in here earlier and said he still wants to see some Tyler Guyton playing left tackle, your first-round pick. Do you need to see him? What are the rookies that you think, hey, you've done enough now, and I don't even need to see you tonight?
I'm okay with really all those guys playing.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with, if you want to put Guyton out there. Guyton missed a whole week where, he was dealing with with almost like pneumonia. He had the chest cold and stuff like that. So he missed a lot of practice and then, jumping into some, preseason work, and I'm okay with him playing. If he, the opportunity for him to get some more work. Last week when you watched him, and this is something he's going to have to deal with and something he's going to have to learn, and it only comes through game reps. His hands, his hands could be bad, or I shouldn't say bad. His hands can be poor. And
what do you mean by that? Like his placement on where he's
absolutely.
He's punching
you watch his number one move is and he's such a good athlete that he can get away with this. He could set, and when you come to him, he could headbutt you, and then his hands go outside at times the framework of the body. So he goes like to stop you, and then he'll reset his hands where you're thinking.
Because you want him more inside.
Yeah, and this is what happened against Verse in those Ram practice situations.
Jared Verse, the rookie edge rusher, who's a beast.
Yeah, Verse would slap his hands. Verse wouldn't even let him get his hands. He'd slap his hands. So something with Guyton is that I'd love to be able to watch the tape tomorrow and see white glove on powder blue jersey all day, inside. Not on the shoulder, not on the outside pad.
Okay.
I'd like to see better hand placement from him because it's amazing that he can get away with it. The way that he plays is because of his athletic ability. Headbutt, grab, reset. Now put myself in position.
Yeah, but you can do that against 2s and 3s and 4s in the preseason.
Sure, but
Myles Garrett week 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've got to if you come out today. And whoever the Chargers decide that they're going to rush off that edge, it's not going to be Joey Bosa, but say Bud Dupree.
Maybe Bud Dupree.
It might be Bud Dupree.
Chris Rumpf.
Yeah, I mean you're going to get a couple of guys out there that are probably going to be that are NFL big time players, and I with Bud Dupree, you can't be bad and sloppy with your hands. I just would like to see a game where it's that confidence that, okay, I'm doing it right. Last week, I wasn't doing it right. This week, I'm doing a better job because either they're going to break him down even more with those hands outside, or he's going to get called for a million holding penalties in this league. I mean, he got away with a couple.
No, they'll get him teached up.
I hope so. But I would like to if you ask me, what would you like to see when you're watching tape tomorrow? I'd like to see him play a couple of maybe through the first quarter, and then hand placement inside, powder blue jerseys inside all day.
But in general, has Guyton been better than maybe you thought he was?
Oh no, he's done. Yeah, I mean we always talk about learning curves and stuff like from him coming from the right side to the left side. His athletic ability is super impressive. So yeah, he even if Chuma Edoga was healthy, and Chuma Edoga was not having a poor camp, but that you drafted Guyton to be that guy, and I'm glad that he is going to be that guy.
What about second-round pick, edge, Marshawn Kneeland?
Yeah.
Sam Williams gets hurt. Kneeland gets thrusted into what seems to be a starting spot
how about this?
now. And he's dominated.
The first 3 picks you've made, maybe all of them need to play today.
Guyton, Kneeland,
and Beebe.
Yeah.
Maybe they all need to maybe just play a little bit more. And I'm going to be sick if something happens.
Right. Overshown last year comes to mind.
Yeah. That's fair. But to me, and they might be able to have it figured out with the tackle situation. I know in practice when I left on Wednesday because of the sore knee, and Guyton might be still dealing with the sore knee. So it might you're probably see Awesome Richards out there playing the left side.
Hey, that's fine because he needs as much work as anybody.
That's great. Yeah, I'm with you. You asked me the question who I'd like to see.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Chiofalo play. I'd like to see Nealon play. I'd like to see Nealon have some success as a pass rusher. I'd like to see, all of a sudden, I don't know who the Chargers are going to start at quarterback today. I guess we could have asked, Matt Money Smith.
It'll probably be Easton Stick.
Easton Stick, okay.
I don't think he's been playing that well either.
No, okay. Well, Easton Stick dropping back. I would love to see, Marshawn Nealon beat their tackle a couple of different times, maybe get a sack and a half, create some pressure. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him come out of this preseason with a little bit of some understanding of okay, as a pass rusher, this is what I have to do to get home. The teams that they've played, the Rams and the Raiders the last couple of weeks, have done a good job of getting the ball out, which kind of limited what he could do. But I'd love to see him have maybe a sack in this game, sack and a half, maybe half a sack, just something where he gets to the quarterback and gets a hit and gets the guy on the ground.
Yeah, that would be wonderful as a run stuffer, edge setter.
And I'm okay with, you're not going to play Martin or Tyler Smith in this game.
Right.
But last week, what we did see was a little bit, with BB, the combination blocks, him getting to second level. The one time he went the wrong way, instead of going, he went to where the linebacker was. And then the next time, it's like that guy beat him across his face and then made the tackle. But what happened the next time they ran that play? He went to where he needed to be and was able to cut off that linebacker from getting over and making the play.
And that's what you want to see, especially this time of year with the rookies. You want to see them make a mistake and then bounce back and understand, okay, this is how I learned from it, and then you can see the progression just in the midst of one single game.
How about Carson playing some corner?
I would love to see as much of that as well. What's the status of him? What's the deal with him? Is he corner 4?
Yeah, he was. I think he's corner 4 for you right now.
I think he's got to be.
Yeah, and now depending on what they think about Izzy McQuamu, because Izzy plays a lot. I mean, they might go with a veteran guy, but everything you watch about Carson, to me, he just throw him out there and let him play.
Yeah,
that's what. So all these rookies for this team, and some of them are going to start. Chiofalo, I mean. All these guys need work, but they're going to play key roles. And I wonder if the Cowboys are looking at this as just what you said with Overshown.
Like, how cautious are they going to go?
How cautious? Where's the level of cautiousness start?
Yeah.
Does it start in the 4th round? Does it start in the 5th round? Where does the level? Flournoy, all these guys need to play.
I got to see Flournoy.
Yeah.
Would love to see Carson. I think, Chiofalo, you'd love to see him, but he's your starting linebacker right now in base defense. I mean,
well, that's depending on what you have health-wise with Overshown, and then also though with Clark.
They have it listed as Chiofalo, Kendricks, and Clark as their starting linebackers. Obviously, the depth chart is ever changing.
Fungible.
Yes, at this point in the process here. But, all of these guys you want to see a little bit more out of. But as you mentioned, with the way that the Cowboys have gone about their roster building for this offseason, you're leaning on all of these guys. And to their credit, they've all, for the most part, exceeded expectations as rookies to this point.
Yeah, Thomas is the only player that I could say when you start to talk about the Nate Thomas, he's the only guy of the rookies that hasn't played a major part of what's going on, but he's dealing with patella tendonitis right now, and that's not helping his cause at all. That to me seems like very IR-like, try and just go ahead and put him on that and say we'll play for another opportunity.
All right, today's game between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium is brought to you by Tostitos, the official chip and dip of the Dallas Cowboys. My goodness, I love me some Tostitos on a Cowboys game day. You get the scoops, you get the little scoopage.
Oh, yeah. Great
now
vessels.
Now you just have basically a chip cup of queso and or salsa or buffalo chicken dip. I mean, the options are really endless.
They're endless there. Hey, and quick shout out to the 4-0 Bear Down Bears, Chicago Bears. 4-0 in the preseason this year.
There you go.
There
you go.
Are we
That's moving the needle.
Yeah. How about that?
Listen, as a Bears fan, what else do you have to latch on to?
I mean, everybody was talking about the new quarterback there and all the, the additions that they made at receiver and stuff. So Bear down Bears, 4-0 in the preseason this year.
That's all Matt Eberflus does, baby. He just wins football games. He just wins football games when it doesn't matter. All right. I am looking forward to the Bears this season. Of course, they're like right there for everybody as like a top 2 or 3 team you're interested in seeing because they could be the young on the rise. Oh my gosh, playoff team.
And everybody loves this story. Ready? In Buffalo, what's going on today? They're in a 14-11 game against the Panthers. Ben DiNucci is 11 of 15 for 76 yards for the Bills.
Nooch.
The Nooch.
Yes.
He got 11 for 15, 76 yards, and a tutty for the Nooch.
Is he selling upside-down Buffalo hats?
You know he's selling upside-down Buffalo hats.
He's got to be slinging those things.
Yep.
Hey, college football update for you because college football is back, ladies and gentlemen.
It is back.
I saw College Game Day on my
Dublin.
screen. From Dublin. Have you ever been to Dublin?
No,
I
have not.
Ireland?
No, I've been to
NFL Europe. I thought maybe you had gone everywhere.
No, I never made it to Dublin.
Well, it's 21-14 Georgia Tech.
Get 'em.
Haynes King, Longview's own
Ramblin'
Haynes
Wreck.
King is the quarterback.
Florida State, 10th rank right now, right?
Yeah, number 10, Florida State. They're now down 21-14 early in the fourth quarter in Dublin. DJ Uiagalelei is trending for bad reasons.
Oh, he's struggling.
He is struggling. I don't know what his current stat line is, but I know it started like this, 12 of 14. But it was minus 0.1 air yards per attempt.
Oh, no.
It was just, hey, DJ, wide receiver screen here, wide receiver screen there, and let your guys go make some plays. But inevitably, you have to step up and make a couple of big boy throws in a game. I don't think he's done it to this point. So, from Dublin, we have Georgia Tech leading FSU, and that's just where the ACC is right now. Just a disaster. And that's why Will Chambers earlier today had SMU.
He had SMU in
their
there,
first
sure did.
year in the conference, winning it and making the college football playoff. I think we'd absolutely love that here in the Metroplex. What else here around the sport of football? Let's go back into the NFL here because you have Brandon Ayuk. That situation, we, of course, monitoring what's going on with CeeDee Lamb. We had Todd Archer of ESPN saying, hey, friendly reminder, you had to get face-to-face with Zach Martin and his people, with the Cowboys people, for them to get the deal done this time last year. And so they're sort of predicting the same thing taking place now that everybody's back here in DFW. You probably get a Frisco at the Star face-to-face with Lamb and his agents and Jerry and Steven and company, and hopefully we can get that thing ironed out. The Niners' status is still really up in the air with Brandon Ayuk. They sort of forced him to join them for their preseason finale. He's like sort of in and out with everything that they've been doing here throughout training camp. But their rookie wide receiver, Ricky Pearsall.
Shoulder problems, huh?
Yeah, he was supposed to be the replacement for Ayuk, so to speak. If not this offseason, then certainly for next.
Yeah.
But he has a shoulder issue that they think might be more long-term and could be a giant nightmare for them.
We've got Daniel Jeremiah next door in the Chargers booth.
Yeah.
At the break, I'm going to walk over there and ask him because I don't think any of us had the extent of that shoulder surgery for Ricky Pearsall there. So that's something the Niners said they knew about, but, man, I wonder how many people in the scouting world really knew about it. I'm sure the teams did. But us media scouts, you talk about being in the dark on that one.
Yeah.
That one we didn't see coming.
All right, there it is around the NFL here on the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys, live at AT&T Stadium. We are getting you set for kickoff, the preseason finale. The Chargers are in town, under 90 minutes to kick. Let's welcome in the best in the business, Christy Scales. She gives us the scoop before kickoff next year on The Fan.
Bell Nunley has been committed to serving their clients for over 4 decades. This Dallas-based full-service law firm offers an extensive array of legal services, including championship-level commercial litigation, mergers and acquisitions, real estate, intellectual property, and labor and employment practices. Whether it's the clients they serve, the cases they win, the people they hire, or the community they build, Bell Nunley is
here on 105 Through the Fan. Just let us know some breaking news about our Dallas Cowboys. Absolutely the last thing you want to see at a time like this. All-pro cornerback off of his career year. Duron Bland will be undergoing surgery for a stress fracture in his foot and is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. That according to the Dallas Cowboys. So that's some breaking news right here as we are getting you set for kickoff, the preseason finale here at AT&T Stadium. We're about to get the scoop from Christy Scales, but Bryan Broaddus, initial reaction other than just heartbreak.
Yeah, you know what? Just watching practices and stuff like that, never appeared like anything was a problem for, Bland moving around, watching the Friday practices and stuff like that. You get home, maybe there's a little bit of some issues you kind of feel like it doesn't feel right, and then you get things checked out and they do the MRIs, the x-rays, the various things. So yeah, this is a huge blow for the Cowboys, especially too with with Diggs coming back from his injury. So now that's going to put them in a situation where it's, as I always talk about, the old next man up theory, but we've mentioned about Israel Mukuamu. I even talked about today of, Kalen Carson playing some more.
Mm-hmm.
Now Kalen Carson might be a guy that you're absolutely going to have to lean on.
Yeah.
And he is a very capable player. And so it's as tough as it is for Bland, at least you have some good options there. Mukuamu playing well. And then also Carson has shown a lot of promise.
All right, it's a stress fracture, some surgery on the foot. He'll be back in 6 to 8 weeks. That's Duron Bland, and we'll continue to keep you updated on that situation. But right now here, as we inch closer and closer to kickoff here at AT&T Stadium, let's welcome in Christy Scales, Cowboys sideline reporter here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Christy, I hate to bring you in on this awful news that we just received on Duron Bland, but how the heck are you?
That's well, I'm doing a lot better than Duron, that's for sure. No, and that'll obviously be the first question that we have for Jerry Jones, is more in depth on that with the cornerback situation. But the plan coming into today, just like the first two preseason games, Duron wasn't going to play anyway. Now he couldn't, but Trayvon Diggs and Jordan Lewis, just like the starting safeties, they're out there with the early group just going through pregame stretching. Guys that are not going to play, who we have for the starters today at cornerback are Andrew Booth, with who they made the trade with Minnesota to bring Booth in, and he had been getting some first team reps at practice this past week, and then Josh Butler. So a very big day for Josh Butler. And then at safety, Marquise Bell has had an outstanding camp. He's going to start at safety. He's actually the captain for the defense today. And then we'll see more of Julius Wood as early as starting in the game. So really big day for those young players.
No question about it, Christy. Absolutely. Now, am I looking at this right? Am I seeing Brandon Aubrey down there wearing the blue jersey? We doing a little blue jersey action here tonight?
Well, it's not just the blue jersey, but the silver pants. I was just talking with Bucky Buchanan, Dallas Cowboys equipment manager. I said, I feel like we're in Philadelphia or Washington. We don't see the silver pants at home. But here's the thing, and Eric, you can appreciate it, the couple weeks you spent out in Oxnard. And Brian, you and I just got back after 30 days in Oxnard. This will be the third different, they're doing the different uniform combination because there's a lot of dirty laundry from camp, including two away preseason games. But they're doing the silver pants because when they wear that white pant combo with the blue jersey, that's kind of a special one, and that's going to be for later in the season. But it's definitely a different look and kind of jarring for those of us that are used to seeing the blue and silver only on the road.
So it's more about like them trying to catch up unloading trucks then, right? Is that what we're working on right now?
That could be part of it. It's like I haven't opened my suitcase yet from the 30 days away, and I'm wearing my backup cowboy shirt because out of the 20 of them, I wore them all out, and I left one back at home so that I could wear it for the preseason home opener. But no, this is I say this every year, but I think I'm the only media person that actually enjoys the preseason game, especially the final one, because there are guys that this will be the last time that they wear a Cowboy uniform. For some, it'll be maybe the last time they ever play in a competitive football game. These are guys playing for their careers. You've got 90 on the roster. It's going to be 53 the cut-down deadline is Tuesday afternoon, 3 o'clock. So you're going to have 37 unemployed guys, Cowboys. And then 16 of them are hoping that they get signed back to the practice squad. Of course, we do have the international player, Denzel Jackson, being a native of the Bahamas, that we have a roster exemption that they've used for camp. So this is a really important day for so many of these guys, like the Alec Hollers of the world. You know, people talk about tight end, and he's way down the depth chart, but at the same time had 2 awesome hits in kickoff coverage last year. Are guys like that doing enough to show that they can make it to the practice squad? Because if you make it onto the practice squad, that's a good living in the NFL. I mean, not only do you get to develop your skills, for 18 weeks, because it's 17 regular season games plus the bye week, you get paid $12,500 weekly for 18 weeks. So there are most of us in the world that would enjoy that salary of $225,000 a year. It's a good amount, plus you get to develop and learn more about offense, defense, everything else. So this is a huge afternoon for so many of these players.
Christy, what is the plan for the offensive line today?
Yes.
Because Eric and I were talking about maybe that BB and Guyton and those guys, and now with the Bland news, I'm kind of interested in not playing anybody today.
Cooper Beebe is not playing, and then neither is Guyton. Of course, Guyton has the sore knee and left practice early last week out in Oxnard. But no, Cooper Beebe is not playing today. So it's going to be Brock Hoffman back as your starting center, and then Dakota Shepley will be the backup center, and he'll work probably the final 3 quarters of the game. Depends on how well the offense does in the first quarter as to how long the starters play. But no, Cooper Beebe is one of the young guys, coach's decisions, not playing in the game today. Also, Hunter Lipke is an example. In regards to offensive line, what you're going to see to start the game is Awesome Richards out at left tackle. Okay. Josh Ball is going to start at left guard. So Ball had to play left tackle last week. He had been working mainly at right guard in camp. He's actually never played left guard in a game before. So this is going to be new for Josh. Brock Hoffman, as I mentioned, is your starting center. TJ Bass is going to be right guard. Matt Letzko will be your starting right tackle. So that's how it's going to at least begin the game, and hopefully they'll play into the second quarter, and then it'll be the backups the rest of the way.
Christy, what about some of the rookie defensive players? Have you got any ideas about Leofau, Carson, any of those guys?
Leofau's going to be dressed out and go through warm-ups, but the plan is for Leofau to not play. They know exactly what they have in him, so don't look for Leofau to play today. DeMarvion Overshone, not going to play today. I know he's a second-year player, not a rookie, but with that hip pointer, they're going to be extra cautious with him. He's not going to play. You're not going to see Mozzie Smith, speaking of second-team players. He is not going to play today. So it's going to be a pitch count for Chauncey Golston, so he's going to start, but he's going to have very limited reps today. And I know that one of the things that you guys have been talking about, the wide receiver, or the top 5 set, are they going to keep 6? Jalen Brooks is not playing today, neither is Jalen Tolbert. So if I were and that's coach's decision, that's nothing injury related. So if I'm Jalen Brooks, I'm feeling pretty good about that, because it means that they know what they see in me. So that's always the thing of this last game. Don't look at who's not playing due to injury. Look at who's playing not due to coaches' decisions, because they know what they got in those guys.
All right, Christy, if that's the case, then is it Flournoy and others are they going to keep 6? Or are they going to try? Do you feel like this game might make up their minds whether they go 5 or 6?
I
think Brooks would be the 5th guy.
Right now, I would say Brooks is the 5th guy. Yeah, just by virtue of he's not even playing. But boy, what a huge game for Flournoy. The 3 guys that they have. They have 3 guys listed as starters for wide receiver. So Tyron Billy Johnson, Ryan Flournoy, and Jalen Cropper. I'd say that it's between those 3 guys, obviously, going for it. And then you have guys who just are out of the runnings just because you can't make the club in the tub, right? So a guy like David Durden, who just couldn't get healthy. So, and then at running back, what a huge day for Malik Davis. Malik Davis is going to start the game, and we're going to see a lot of Deuce Vaughn in the first half, a whole lot of Deuce Vaughn. And part of that, it's not so much that they haven't made up their minds about Deuce, but he had such limited work in training camp and didn't play in that first preseason game at SoFi because of the hamstring injury. So look for a lot of Deuce today. And then you'll also see some of Royce Freeman in the first half. The second half is going to be Snoop, Connor, and then your rookie out of Missouri. So, it's going to be kind of, I don't want to say mop-up work because that's not fair to the Nathaniel Peets of the world. But, look for Royce Freeman, Malik Davis, and Deuce Vaughn to get the reps in the first half.
Christy, real quick if we could, Scott Tolzien calling plays today.
No, I don't think so. I know that it's not Dak, but obviously with Cooper Rush not playing today, this is a big day for Trey Lance, and they still want to see him, just like the first 2 weeks, make the throws from the pocket and things like that. So, a whole lot of work. Cooper and Dak will be able to watch from the sideline today.
All right, Christy, you're the best. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll catch up with you next hour.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. There she goes, best in the business. Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales here on the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys. Friendly reminder, 5:30 start today for the Texas Rangers in Cleveland. You can hear that 1080 KRLD AM. So if you're looking for the Rangers, that'll be at 5:30 on the AM side with 1080 KRLD. All right, we'll have more on Duron Bland. We're getting you set for kickoff here. Just over 60 minutes to kick off, and we will get you more information on the Duron Bland injury. We'll hear from Jerry Jones, Coach McCarthy, Brad Sham, and so much more, all coming up next here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Are you ready to elevate your barbecue game? Matt Pittman of Meat Church here, the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether you're a backyard griller, Cowboys tailgater, or a professional pitmaster, Meat Church has everything you need to make every meal a mouth-watering masterpiece. From our legendary seasonings, our fan-favorite recipes, tutorials and tips from barbecue experts, you'll be grilling and smoking like a champ in no time. Visit meatchurch.com, your ultimate destination for the freshest rubs and seasonings and barbecue supplies.
What is the Maverick Factor?
It's being unstoppable in pursuit of your dreams.
It's those set on making a difference in the world.
At the University of Texas at Arlington, our students have that innovative spirit, that leader mentality, and they dream big.
From history-making Marine Corps 4-star generals to Pulitzer Prize-winning photographers to Olympic gold medalists, UTA will set you on the path to something great.
Find your place at the University of Texas at Arlington and tap into the Maverick Factor. Discover more. UTA.edu.
Tom Thumb's new Drive Up and Go service makes grocery shopping easy and convenient for anyone.
25 pounds of ground chuck, 15 bags of hamburger buns, 28 bags of Tostitos, 10 packs of Pepsi, and some barbecue tongs.
You pick the time, you drive up, and go.
With Tom Thumb's Drive Up and Go, anyone has time in their schedule to go grocery shopping. Just a few clicks.
Bill Nunnally, behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Jack Link's, feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
All right, we're 60 minutes to kick off here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team for the preseason finale. Cowboys and Chargers. Chargers here at AT&T Stadium. We're live, and I'm Eric Chiofalo. That is Bryan Broaddus, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl winning scout, which is perfect because, Broaddus, today is it's the game of the scouts, the final preseason game. This is where you're trying to fine-tune everything, and it's a make-or-break-it moment for a lot of guys. And we're going to get into this preview here, brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. But we do need to bring you the unfortunate news of the hour as it pertains to the Cowboys. All-pro corner Duron Bland off a monster season, undergoing surgery for a stress fracture in his foot, and is out 6 to 8 weeks, according to the team. That news just came out over the course of the last 20 or 30 minutes or so. So let's start there, Broadus. Obviously a heartbreaking situation. That was going to be a fun. We still don't get the Diggs-Bland duo at corner. We're at least going to have to wait a little while, 6 to 8 weeks there for Duron Bland. But what does that do to this defense?
Yeah, it doesn't help. With Mike Zimmer and Al Harris, those guys have done a tremendous job this summer. If you look at the young guys that have had an opportunity to play, to get, the Halls, the Carsons, those guys, they've been super competitive. Does it create a little bit of a hole there? Sure, it does. But those young guys, as I've mentioned, they've stepped up. McQuamu, if you look at him last week in the game, you look at metrics. A lot of us do now. I wasn't one of those metrics kind of guys, but you take the tape, you take the metrics, and you're saying, okay, well, how's he playing? You start to talk about the separation, very little with McQuamu. You talk about tight window throws, high number with him. Talk about 0 for 4 in targets and receptions. He played really well last week.
Yeah, and that's a guy that's played. It's been a couple years now, but he's shown up in the regular season too for this team.
And I'm not going to sit here and try and make you feel like I'm not trying to make you feel better. I'm just saying though, they're better equipped to handle something like this. And we thought about this. Could this be? I was even thinking of the point where, what if something were to, if Carson were to be good enough, and it allowed him to play on the outside, and then maybe you move Bland in to play nickel, and Lewis becomes the fourth. I was looking at all different kinds of opportunities, but now it's going to be Diggs, it's going to be Lewis inside, and then let's see if it figures out. Me personally, I like what I've seen from McQuamu. I know there were some questions. Heck, I've been on a lot of these podcasts and platforms and talked about, is he going to make this team, this, that, and the other, and I left Oxnard on Wednesday, and people were telling me, Broadus, if you don't have him on your 53, your 53 ain't any good. So they think enough about McQuamu. We'll see how Carson, and that now everybody really has to step up. Even the trade for Booth now becomes important too.
Right.
Because can he play to the level of a second-round pick? He's a little bit behind in the game, but they've thrown him out there. He tackled well in the game last week. He had a lot of targets at him in the game. He played better after giving up the big play. They're going to have to find somebody to step up and play in that role, and they've at least have got 3 or 4 guys that can give you a NFL level there, not to the level of Bland. I'm not fooling you. I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm just saying, though, if you could find a way to kind of mask some of the deficiencies you might have early, especially if it's Carson. Carson, the rookie, he's super competitive. He'll tackle. There's a lot of positive things about him as a player, but if you throw him out there from the word go, there's probably going to be a little bit of a learning curve. But I wouldn't bet against that kid.
No, he's
having
been
to play.
awesome.
Yeah, having to play.
Yeah, and you guys were high on him coming out of the draft.
We sure were.
That was a really good value play.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys have done a nice job.
They had him on their board. He was picked in the 5th round. Cowboys had him on the board in the 3rd. Now, that was a very deep draft of corners. And so I think the guy got lost in the shuffle a little bit.
That's number 41, Kalen Carson. He will be getting a lot of work tonight versus the Chargers. Well, maybe not with Bland.
Maybe not with what's going on now.
Okay, I guess you thought he would, but then now that Bland's hurt, maybe they don't want to throw him out there, and they're being very cautious. We talked to Christy Scales, and it seems like they're going very, very cautious with the way that they're running out this lineup today. I mean, you're not going to get any Tyler Guyton, rookie first-round pick left tackle out of OU. You're not going to get any Cooper Beebe, the guy who I guess we can assume has locked down that starting center position if Cooper Beebe's not going to be playing. So Brock Hoffman will get the start today. You will have no DeMarvion Overshown. He's dealing with the hip issue. He was hurt last preseason. That makes plenty of sense. No Maris Liufau, rookie linebacker out of Notre Dame, who's been exceeding expectations to this point, and they've seen enough there. That's another guy who's probably starting and definitely a guy they're depending on in a huge way. And that's a common theme with this team right now. It's exacerbated with the Duron Bland injury, and now another rookie that they're having to depend on, especially defensively. Here's Marshawn Nealon, your second-round pick. Sam Williams goes down. He's starting for you now.
Right.
You have Maris Liufau, and then, of course, you're going to have now Kalen Carson very likely getting some starting work at corner. So you have a lot of young guys. How about this one, though? No Mozzie Smith tonight.
Yeah.
What are we doing? No Mozzie Smith tonight. He didn't play last week because of the allergic reaction. That feels like a guy. I mean, he was on the short list of guys. I'm like, I want to see 4 quarters of this dude today. It was Trey Lance, Deuce Vaughn, and Mozzie Smith, but he's not suiting up.
I don't have a great answer for you there. I really don't. And maybe it's one of those things where, they're okay with how Mozzie, what the situation with him is. There has been some improvement. I know we had Babe Laufenberg on. I've been out there at camp the whole time. Babe said 100% better. Babe's not wrong about that. But there was, to your point, there were things I was kind of hopeful, like, okay, let's see Mozzie beat up on some guys. Let's see him, in that Rams game. But if he would have played last week and you sit him out this week, I understand. Played 1 preseason game. He got 2 games or practice games against the Rams. Had some good moments there in that, but I would have liked to have seen him play at least a quarter today, but they don't agree with me on that. Last time they agreed with me on anything was in 2005, and they got rid of me after that.
Yeah, they sure did. They sure did, didn't they? Well, you're still a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
a super beast. All right, we're under 60 minutes to kick off here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, the official pregame show of America's team, getting you set for the preseason finale here. Then we get to the real stuff. We'll hear from Jerry Jones in the owner's box coming up later on in the hour. But let's get to the coach's corner. Voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, standing by here at AT&T Stadium with your head coach, Mike McCarthy. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, time out. Now, everybody knows being a
as a community through it all.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
45 minutes to a Cowboy kickoff here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. And it is time here live at AT&T Stadium for the Coach's Corner. Today it is Brad Sham, voice of the Cowboys, standing by here at AT&T Stadium with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Brad Sham, take it away.
Fellas, thanks very much. Last preseason game, of course, for the Cowboys and Coach Mike McCarthy. I'm guessing that this is an agonizing period of 72 hours for you. You have to make final evaluations. They won't be final, but they're final. And then you have to decide on young men's futures. Does that ever get any easier?
Absolutely not. This is always the toughest stretch. When you go home Tuesday night where you know the 68 or Wednesday, the 68 that you're going to have, that's kind of the finish line. But just as I told the team today, this is our last time to walk out of the team meeting room as a 90-man roster and compete today. So, and there's so much that goes into this. I even reflected back to April and all the energy and time and effort that these men put into really the journey of the 2024 Dallas Cowboys, because everything that we've gained through the practice, through the relationship building, will all be part of our success in the near future. And and I just, that has to be said and recognized. But yes, we're this, and it's a good year. Like it's really been in my time here. We're going to have some very, very difficult decisions, and and at the end of the day, I hope we're blessed to have 68 guys that are our guys, because I do believe in the people that we have here in the locker room today.
All right, let's start with some things you might have to look at in getting to the 68 that people will see and hear today. This isn't affecting the 68, but everyone always wants to talk about the quarterback. And I'm interested to see, as I'm sure you are, how Trey Lance takes another step. What would be, in your eyes, the indicator that he's taken yet another step forward?
Really, I just want to see Trey, come off of the game that he had in Vegas. I thought, he did some things really well from the Rams to Vegas, and then there's a couple things that he missed. So and that's really part of the journey. I mean, we're still talking about a young quarterback just at the position, let alone at the NFL position. I mean, we all know the history of in college, but right now I think he's just coming up on 1,000 attempts through his college and pro career. I mean, you look at the history of college quarterbacks that come out with 1,300. I mean, so I just want to see him take that next step. I thought he played with a lot more confidence in Vegas. He did with the Rams. So this will be a really good opportunity against a multiple scheme. I mean, so we're expecting them to throw everything at us today. I think where they are. Being in year one, so they're trying to get their systems in. So this will be a really good test for our offense, and this will be a great experience for Trey.
You indicated during the week that you we're thinking about giving him the whole game. Will that be the case?
Yes, Trey will take the whole football game, and I feel like I keep saying, I'm trying to think of a different way to say it. He needs to play. He needs to play.
Who'll call plays today?
Scott Tolzien will call plays today, and I'll be right there with Scott. We've always tried to, make the opportunity about development all the way through our football operations and coaching operations. Dak. We did some other focal points with him this week, and but this will be a great experience for Scott. But most importantly, Scott and Trey they spend more time together than anybody. So them two have a very, very strong relationship. So it'll be great to see these two compete.
Scott's been a quarterback all his life. I'm sure it feels like to him. Has he ever done this before?
No, this is his first time. So this will be a great experience for him. And no one can out-prepare Scott Tolzien. So he's ready to go.
All right, let's talk about a couple other position groups. It seems like you have a surplus of running backs, more that you could keep than that you probably can keep. Who are you most interested in looking at today?
Well, really, we want to see them all play. Zeke and Rico will not play, but we want to see the whole group play, and And it's fair to them and just gives us the cleanest evaluation.
And how about at tight end?
Same philosophy. I mean, just want to see those guys play, try to get the reps balanced out the best we can.
Guessing Ferguson will not play.
Outside of Ferguson, yes, I stand corrected. So and Scooney, is someone that we'll keep an eye on, but we just really want to see those other guys play.
I don't recall you being asked very much about Schoonover during the time in camp, maybe once or twice. But to me, he shows flashes. You can see why you drafted him, and then he has trouble staying on the field. Where do you see him being right now?
Well, I think that's the answer's in your question. I mean, availability is the only hurdle that he needs to get over, because when he's out there and he's playing every day, he's a young ascending player with a lot of ability.
Another young guy who I'm guessing is going to play a lot today, Asim Richards. You spent draft choice on him last year. And he looks like he's getting pretty close to being able to be a guy you'd trust in a game. How do you evaluate his summer?
Well, I think he's had a hell of a summer. Just in the opportunity he's been given with position flex, and he's been playing through some injuries and bumps and bruises. So love what he's done so far. Just want to see him take another step.
I don't want to ignore the defense. You've completely remade your defensive line in the last 2 weeks. Will any of those guys play?
Specifically,
Phillips, Lawson, and Joseph probably just got here, right?
Phillips and Phillips and Lawson will be on rep counts, and Linville will not play.
Tell me, it's for down the road. We'll talk more about it in a couple of weeks. But what does Linval Joseph bring to you?
Well, he brings a lot of things. Number one, he's a tremendous anchor in the middle of the defense, which has been a focal point for us in the last couple years. So. But you're also getting a really good top-notch locker room leader. So has a great reputation in that area. And just look at his wealth of experience in not only in playing in the league, but playing in Mike Zimmer's defense. So I think this has been an excellent acquisition for us, and excited to have him part of it.
So cut down is 3:00 Central Time Tuesday. What will your Sunday and Monday be like?
Evaluation and conversation, like it always is. Just making sure you're talking it through, going over and over and over again, and just trying to make the best decision, not only for our football team, but for the individuals.
All right, Mike, thanks for the time. Have a productive afternoon. Fellas, back to you.
Thank you, Brad Sham. How about that? Quarterback coach Scott Tolzien. He's going to be doing the play calling duties today, and Trey Lance going a full 4 quarters.
Yeah.
What do you think, man? If you're Tolzien, you're trying to dial it up here. You're trying to get your guys some big boy throws.
Trying to make some big boy throws. I'll be interested to see what kind of game he calls. If it's very similar to what we saw with the Raiders as opposed to the Rams. I don't know if you want to drop back and throw the ball. Now, you might be in a situation where you're trying to evaluate some of these wide receivers. Christie kind of walked us through with how that's going to, Brooks not dressing today. Are they going 5 receivers? Are they going 6? Are we battling for some spots there? We might need to put the ball in the air a little bit to determine that. What's our situation with the running backs? How do you want it? You got the offensive line. He could be on a mode too where he's like, listen, just coach says run the ball. Let's get out of this thing and try and get to and get to the regular season. So he's got a couple of different ways that he can play this.
All right, what does Jerry Jones have to say about the Duron Bland injury? We'll find out next as we go into the owner's box live from AT&T Stadium. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been...
Minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
All right, we're just over 30 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Let's go into the owner's box with Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones. Standing by with Christy Scales. Christy, take it away.
Well, Jerry, the preseason finale is usually a time when we talk about young rookies who are trying to make the team. But before we do that, I do have to ask, because in the last hour it was announced about Duron Bland with his surgery, the foot injury. Can you update us on Duron Bland?
We knew about this about 3 days ago, and we've been working through the medical aspect of it. So we won't have him tonight. The good news, he'll be here for the important, let's say, vital games of the year end. He'll be out 4 or 5 weeks of this start of the season. So that's where that is. But great news is that he'll be back on it in about a month, 6 weeks.
Well, you dealt with cornerback injuries last year with Trayvon Diggs, and how was his camp? And are you expecting him to be the Trayvon that we all expect out of the gate week 1 in Cleveland?
We're in great shape at corner because of our young guys coming in. We got Diggs coming on later. I mean, not Diggs, but Bland coming on later. That's one of the strengths of our whole team is our corner position, safety position. Our secondary is outstanding in personnel.
Some of the young guys who were fighting for spots today, the Eric Scotts of the world, the Josh Butlers, Keeman Hall had an interception return for a touchdown last week. Or any of those guys you're particularly watching for this afternoon?
Again, let's see what any of them can do out here tonight, which is important. But you know how this thing goes. Everybody's looking at your roster trying to poach. Everybody wants your players if they have a hole in that spot. So we kind of keep closed mouth, and if you do hear from us, you shouldn't pay a lot of attention to it.
Hey, so the owners, you guys have a meeting coming up this week. It's my understanding it's more business related, but will you be talking about the changes with the new kickoff rule, and is there any chance that the new touchback spot may be moved from the 30 to the 35-yard line?
No. And so, but everybody I've talked to thinks the rule is very workable. It will add dimension to the kickoff that makes it more interesting, all of which was the purpose of changing it. So, and I personally liked what I saw in the early preseason games.
What area did you see Trey Lance make the most improvement from preseason game 1 to game 2, and what do you want to see today?
Every area. I saw it. He processed the defense, was able to improve going to where the ball needs to go, which is important. He's able to certainly do a better job with his feet. Best day he had was the last day, which was a highly combative day that we had at training camp there in Oxnard. And he looked the best that I'd seen him look all year, and he looked gave me whet my appetite for tonight.
Last question for you, and it's defensive side of the ball, because you made another move. You brought in Carl Lawson, the pass rusher, the veteran pass rusher, signed him, and we understand he'll get a few reps tonight. But you've made quite a few changes from the start of training camp to now with the Jordan Phillips of the world. And so how do compare your feeling to the start of camp to right now when it comes to your depth at D-line?
Well, I think it's good, and we added Joseph to the roster that won't be here tonight, but will be on the roster. So we're excited about what we've added, anticipated that, knew that there was a real possibility. Really excited about Mozzie Smith and how he's coming on. Excited about our young guys. So I really like the way that defensive front's looking.
We appreciate it. Thanks so much, Jerry. That's the view from the owner's box as we continue counting down Chargers and Cowboys in the preseason finale. Let's rejoin Eric and Brian.
Thank you so much, Christy. And today's Owner's Box is brought to you by Yeti, the official cooler of the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. And how about this? The Dallas Cowboys announced that fans will be able to purchase a signature exclusive Dallas Cowboys 30-ounce Yeti tumbler on game days here at AT&T Stadium. Legends Hospitality continues to hit it out of the freaking park. They just dropped by a wide selection of some of their new menu items. I just watched Broadus punish a waffle, a churro waffle. Is what that was. And the look that came upon his face upon first bite was absolutely fantastic. The buffalo chicken empanadas, are you kidding me? Got a nice little kick on that, okay? Just a little heads up.
Oh,
the
my
kick
gosh.
on the buffalo chicken empanada. The flavor's through the roof. The kick is real. You dip that bad boy in a little bit of ranch dressing.
Yeah.
And now we are partying on a Cowboy game day at AT&T Stadium. How phenomenal was that, Broadus?
Oh, my gosh. It's crazy. It's the amount of food that's now behind our broadcast position.
Oh, geez. We got a pizza burger over there? We going pizza burger?
I see a lot of things going. I see like forks sticking out of.
Look at this, man.
Kind of
this
items.
Pizza burger is about to be off the chain.
Is that it?
This is the headliner. There it is.
That's it.
There it is. 16 ounces of Angus beef sandwiched between not one but two pepperoni pizzas to make the ultimate pizza burger here at AT&T Stadium. Legends Hospitality continues to outdo themselves, and we're going to be in a food coma by halftime. I don't even know if Brock's going to be able to handle the halftime duties here on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
I can't wait to see you eat the pizza burger.
Oh, you know I will. You know I will. That's a shareable. I think that's going to feed a small family.
I think we got two of them. I think you could eat one, and we'll divide the other one up. Yeah,
I'm here for that.
Yeah, they're right there. Bob Thomas, the best statistician in the National Football League, is like moving food around. And then we got a lot of food over here today.
Look at that beef patty on that burger, dude.
You got to take a picture of that bad boy. Send it on out. What's that right there that Bob's holding? It looks like some type of.
Oh, these are the tacos. These are the Frito tacos. These look unbelievable, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. What is that? The Fritos. Yeah, it's a Fritos taco of sorts. But I mean, my goodness, that thing looks absolutely legendary, and that's what Legends Hospitality continues to do here at AT&T Stadium. All right, it's the official pregame show, and we're live in the Brad Sham radio booth. We'll catch up with Brad here in just a moment, but let's get to know the enemy, brought to you by Arrow Exterminators, the official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. We got this Chargers football team, man. Does anything? I mean, Jim Harbaugh being there now, how much respect do you have for him, and do you see at any point a Chargers chance of winning a division that has Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid?
Well, they play in a very competitive division, and we've seen what, Denver, even with Sean Payton, now you're starting to see the fingerprints of him, but you mentioned the Chargers always felt like that they had some talented players. Just as Matt Money Smith was talking about, that the coaching just didn't seem with, Anthony Lynn and others, it just didn't seem like that it was rolling the right direction there. So You bring in a guy like Harbaugh. We mentioned he's won at every single level he's been at. I wouldn't be surprised in 2 or 3 years if we're talking about them as being one of those teams that is competing for that AFC West title.
Yeah, the physicality, everything like that jumps out. But as it pertains to tonight's game, man, no Mozzie Smith is a little crazy. Jerry just shouted him out there in the owner's box with Christie, like, hey, he's looked good, because you kind of feel like the guys that don't suit up in a game like this are guys that you have your spot secure. And, of course, Mozzie has his spot based on being last year's first-round pick.
Right.
He wasn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
But why wouldn't you want to get him some more in-game repetitions, especially after last week, the allergic reaction, and he missed the game in Vegas. So, but the Cowboys they're going extra cautious. No Monty Smith, no Overshone, no Maris Leofau, the rookie, no Cooper Beebe, the rookie, no Tyler Guyton, the rookie. And how about this? Congratulations to Hunter Lipke. That's a guy you knew was probably going to make the roster, but he's not suiting out either. We should get a lot of Deuce Vaughn today, though. That
would be good. We need to figure out this running back situation. Him, Malik Davis, let him play it out and see which one of them. And keep an eye on special teams. Whatever guy, these running backs, receivers, if you get a guy that's shining on this, playing in the field with this position and all of a sudden shining on special teams, Bones Fossil is going to have a big say in what happens to this roster in the final spots.
All right, let's get you set for kickoff with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, live from AT&T Stadium. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, Dallas Cowboys fans. Hope y'all are ready for game day. We all know a car.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
All right, we're getting you set for kickoff here. Preseason finale for the Cowboys. Chargers are in town. We're live here at AT&T Stadium inside the Brad Sham radio booth, which is beautiful. He's had great hospitality for us all day long, and he joins us now, brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
Nothing less than what you deserve.
Well, thank you, Brad Sham. I wanted to just do nothing but happiness, and then we got the Duron Bland news, and now I'm trying to piece things together. Kalen Carson, though, I know you've been a fan of his.
Yeah, and here's what you can tell from today. You can tell who's made the team by guys who don't play.
Right.
Carson's not playing.
Right. Oh, he's not playing tonight.
No, he's in uniform, but there are a handful of guys who will be emergency guys. Kalen Carson's one, which means he'll be the starting left corner in Cleveland. That's as of now.
Sure.
Now, something can happen. Like, they've remade their defensive line in the last week and a half.
They have.
And thank goodness for that. So who knows what's available? Brian and I were just talking. Stephon Gilmore signed with the Vikings on Sunday.
Oh, man.
And Wednesday is when Bland felt irritation in his foot. Now, as you pointed out, Brian, the Vikings gave Gilmore.
They did. The Vikings were in trouble with their secondary for sure.
But the Cowboys might have found that.
Might have found money.
But look, just happiness and joy is good. Just keep having that. Bland will miss a couple of months.
Yeah.
And here's a headline: Duron Bland is not the last Cowboy who will be injured.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, let me ask you about this. You're talking about guys who have made the team. We knew this guy was going to make the team. He's not playing tonight. But Mozzie Smith, I'm surprised to see. We knew he was going to make the team, of course, but I feel like he could use some in-game repetitions.
Yeah, there's a dozen guys who could use some repetitions who aren't playing. Because if you get somebody hurt today, you've got basically 10 days less if you want them to practice in the game week. So you just don't. That's why guys don't play.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some guys today now who are going to make the team. There are a couple of guys who are probably playing to get onto the team. Does Mozzie Smith need? Yes, Mozzie Smith needs 6 games of reps. But probably better than he was last year. And Linval Joseph's a big addition. And
literally.
Yeah, and they needed that. So, I mean, I don't have a quarrel with that.
My favorite scout on the Scouts game is Brad Sham.
Please.
What is there a position that you think they're looking at one last guy?
Oh, I think there's a couple. I think tight end and running back are very high on the list, but there are a couple of others now. I would not go to sleep on these linebackers.
Okay.
And the reason is I'm not convinced DeMarvion Overshown is healthy and going to be ready for Cleveland.
Okay.
The hip pointer is bothering him.
All right.
And so he hadn't been, and then now Damone Clark, I think, is going to be okay.
He started practicing before we left.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not sure what Overshown's status is.
All right.
So they've got a couple of these guys. Vigil, who was a veteran who's played for Zimmer.
Special teams guy.
Harvey, who was in the UFL.
Buddy Johnson,
who played a couple of games for them last. And those are the 3 linebackers starting today, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And Buddy Johnson played for them a couple of games last year. So I would not go to sleep on that. And here's the other one that's interesting to me. Is the guy who, Wanye Thomas is not playing. He suffered a groin injury. I don't think it was real serious. But number 33, Wood, who's had a pretty good camp.
Julius Wood.
He's had a pretty good camp. Rookie free agent from East Carolina.
The Mighty Pirates.
He's going to start today. Let's give him a good look. Now, but the running backs and tight ends are at the top of the list.
Overall, this rookie class been pretty impressive to this point.
Yeah, I think that, you're going to reevaluate, especially the linemen, Eric, after they get into the regular season and see different schemes and better players. But I mean, you're going to have 2 of your first 3. Actually, you might have your first 4 in the starting lineup.
Exactly.
Because Nealon's going to play a lot, not today.
Right.
And Leofau's going to play a lot, not today. And then, so BB is in uniform.
But he ain't playing today. Is Wolchuk going to be all right? Is he going to be able to do the post-game show?
Post-game, it'd be just you and I in the post-game. Driving home,
we
call
can handle
in.
that.
Yeah, just call in.
We can handle that. But that's how you know that Cooper Beebe is going to be the starting center because
Right.
he's not playing today.
Right.
And Brock Hoffman he won't play a whole lot, but he will play.
Brad Sham, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for the time as always.
Okay, boys.
There he goes, voice of the Cowboys, the legendary Brad Sham, as we broadcast live from the Brad Sham radio booth. And now it's time to get down onto that AT&T Stadium turf and get Christy Scales keys to the game, brought to you by Pollock Aurora, proud supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. All right, what are we doing with the play calling situation? I got to be honest, Christy, I was hoping to see Dak Prescott put the headset on and start to dial it up, at least in half number 2, but I don't think I'm getting my wish granted tonight.
No, not going to get Dak today, but quarterbacks coach Scott Tolzien's going to handle the duties, but that involves logistical changes because Scott, as quarterbacks coach, is normally in the coaching booth, but since he's calling plays today into Trey Lance's headset, Scott will be down on the sideline. So kind of a little bit of a domino effect. Will McClay, who is the Cowboys vice president of player personnel, who used to do a lot of games from the booth, he's a former coach himself, it's going to help out in the booth today. One other change, I want to mention something about coaching because it hasn't attracted publicity this summer, but we've had our first female Cowboys coach as an intern this year, Lisa Horton. She has to go back to her work at Slippery Rock as the football coach there, but she has been part of the Bill Walsh NFL Minority Fellowship Coaching Internship Program, and she has worked under Linda Wells as the tight ends assistant coach. So she's done a great job in training camp. She is working today, but then it'll be the end of her internship. But it's the first time we've had a female as part of the coaching program or internship, and she did a great job. So I want to thank Lisa for the time I got to visit with her. But when you ask about keys to the game, Eric and Brian, I have to say Keyman Hall. He's a late addition to those that aren't playing today. We know that the young cornerbacks are under the microscope today after the news with Duron Bland having a surgery for the stress fracture in the foot, but a little tweak in practice this past week. Just out of precaution, they do not want to have him play today. So you're short a cornerback there, one of your young guys. Of course, he had the 69-yard interception return for the touchdown last week at the Raiders, but Hall will not be playing today.
Man, Christy, I'll tell you what, though. I thought maybe when you first said that, it was like now they're really being cautious with Carson and Hall. Maybe this was going to be Hall's way of making the roster, but you're saying it's an injury there.
Yes, and it's one of those things where it's an abundance of caution is what I'm told by someone down here on the sideline who would know. But see, the thing is, Hall's been playing inside, right? Doing that slot, working behind Jordan Lewis. So that's a very different thing from playing outside. So whether it'll be DeBerry getting some work or Josh Butler early in camp had been doing some inside-outside. And I had talked to Josh Butler, this was 3 hours before kickoff. Hey, are you playing inside any today? He's like, I'm not sure. I haven't been told specifically how things are going to play out. So don't be surprised if you see him get some inside work just out of necessity because of Hall.
Christy, you're the best. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the game.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
There she goes, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, and that'll do it for us here in the official pregame show. Next time we run this thing, we run it for real. Week 1, it'll be in Cleveland at the Dog Pound with all sorts of fun Cowboy conversations to be had in the meantime, and we look forward to the action tonight. We'll have Broadus there on the halftime show today here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, as well as the postgame with Zach Wolchuk, but it'll be Brad, Babe, and Christy. They'll have you the rest of the way. Kickoff around the corner. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Hey Dallas football fans, Buffalo Wild Wings will be hosting a weekly football feast live radio show with 105.3 The Fan's KNC Masterpiece on Fridays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Join us each week for giveaways and enjoy some cold Miller Lite. Buffalo Wild Wings is your football headquarters throughout the season with wall-to-wall TVs, fresh wings, award-winning sauces, and great happy hour and late-night offerings. Stop into your local DFW B-Dubs for more details and a schedule of show locations.
Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back.
Chicken strips. Chicken strips. Chicken strips.
Ranch.
Ranch Buffalo. Ranch. Monterey Jack cheese.
The Whataburger Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich. For a limited time, a beautiful masterpiece.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
We've all got a wild side. Feed it with Jack Links. Now feed